Nikal, finally.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this, as much as it's a very quick motion that we need to pass, is extremely important. As the mover said, now Kemri has moved a step further. What we need to know is that Kemri is not now just a research institution. It is actually a degree awarding institution and dealing with postdoctoral research. And basically, that's where research that runs the systems are. And nationally, we actually give very little money in research. If you look at NACOSTI, the total amount of money in this country that is given for research is just about 2% of our budget, which is extremely small. And universities, if they have to grow in the first instance, in many, many cases actually do receive funding from outside. And postdoctoral research is extremely important because they actually give rise to findings that eventually go into production of even drugs, like in the case of Kemri. And therefore, we actually stand to earn a lot even in the future if we promote research and have these new graduates that go supported, and not only from JICA, but from any other sources. So I think, Madam Speaker, this is something we should support a lot, and therefore, I think Kemri should be supported. I only want to sound a warning, which I've said before. Now that it is a university, the biggest error that we can make is if we start taking undergraduate students, then the research will die. So let's support them. Let them depend on this funding from outside, even if from inside is little. With that, Madam Speaker, I support.
Honorable members, I therefore put the question that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation in its consideration of the Income Tax Exemption Amendment of Legal Notice number 15 of 2021, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 25th August 2026, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 13(3) and the Income Tax Act, Cap 470, this House approves the Income Tax Exemption Amendment of Legal Notice number 15 of 2021, published as Legal Notice 191 of 2025. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 11, motion, consideration of Senate amendments to the Kenya National Council for Population and Development Bill, National Assembly Bill number 72 of 2023.
Leader of majority.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Senate amendments to the Kenya National Council for Population and Development Bill, National Assembly Bill number 72 of 2023, be now considered. Honorable Speaker, these are amendments that were done from the Senate, and which largely we are in concurrence, and I would beg the House to support these amendments. I beg to move.
Who is seconding you?
Sorry, Honorable Speaker. May I request the Honorable Wangwe to second the motion in agreement?
Member for Navaholo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I second.
Honorable members, allow me then to propose that the Senate amendments to the Kenya National Council for Population and Development Bill, National Assembly Bill number 72 of 2023, be now considered. Honorable members, we shall be going to the committee, but I'll indulge you, Member for Funyula.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We need, by accepting the Senate committee, Senate amendments, we are sending a very strong message to the Senate that we are not in a big fight with anybody. We are not in competition with them. We are only interested in the good for this country. Likewise, when we send anything to them, they should expeditiously consider it and accept our reasoned views, because we could be much wiser than them because we are many. And where many heads when many heads put together, good things come out of it. So that's why we need the leadership to pass to the Senate that we are not rivals. We are complementing each other. We just happen to be their slightly elder brother, which they must live with that and accept moving forward. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I support.
Majority Leader. Reply.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to reply.
Honorable members, I therefore put the question that the Senate amendments to the Kenya National Council for Population and Development Bill, National Assembly Bill number 72 of 2023, be now considered. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 12, motion. Consideration of Senate amendments to the Public Finance Management Amendment number 4 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 45 of 2024.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Senate amendments to the Public Finance Management Amendment number 4 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 45 of 2024, be now considered. Again, Honorable Speaker, these are some 3 bills that we had passed in the House, and when they were relayed to the Senate, they passed some minor amendments, then consolidated all the bills into one bill, which is now this bill that we are considering, and we are in full agreement with the amendments that are passed by the Senate. Just to reiterate what the Honorable Ondo has said, we are not in competition with the Senate, and that is what bicameral parliament ought to do, where you can generate new ideas that improve a piece of legislation. We support, not what we saw with the RMLF bill, where they rejected the bill, including the title of the bill. I even wonder whether I read it, and therefore I beg to move and request the Honorable Undo to second this motion in agreement, and we support these amendments in committee. Thank you.
Member for Funyula.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Since I already commented on the generality of the matter, allow me to second and have nothing else to add. Thank you.
Honorable members, I therefore propose the question that the Senate amendments to the Public Finance Management Amendment number 4 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 45 of 2024 be now considered. The mood of the House is that I put the question. I therefore put the question that the Senate amendments to the Public Finance Management Amendment number 4 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 45 of 2024 be now considered. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable members, we shall reorder the order paper briefly, just slightly, so that order number 16 comes now before order number 13. So call out order number 16.
Order number 16, special motion, consideration of nominees for appointment to the Teachers Service Commission.
Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Education.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, that taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee on Education in the report on the approval hearings of the nominees for appointment as members of the Teacher Service Commission, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 25th August 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 252B of the Constitution, Section 88 of the Teacher Service Commission Act, Cap 2012, and Section 38 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F, this House approves the appointment of the following persons as members of the Teacher Service Commission: Madam Antonina Lentojoni and Mr. Wilson Soshon. Madam Speaker, I want to say that the Committee on Education, pursuant to the provisions of the Constitution and the law, understanding orders of the House, actually took the true nominees to the actual processes of the House. Madam Speaker, the President, via a communication from the Speaker, gave a communication to this House on the appointment, on the nomination of the two nominees, via a letter dated, via a letter which was read before the House. Mr. Speaker, we also need to note that immediately the President gave that particular notification, the committee was actually given the mandate to undertake the process. The clerk, therefore, on 30th July 2026, conveyed the message, and we went into the committee session and took to undertake the process of approval hearing as per the Constitution, the standing orders, and more importantly, the Teacher Service Commission Act. Honorable Speaker, through the recruitment process, the committee therefore went and undertook to invite and actually put in the print media all what was the requirement of the two. Madam Speaker, you only need to know that the public was notified, and I want to read this very clearly, that the public was notified on the recruitment stage and was extended to place to Parliament's own process, pursuant to Article 118 of the Constitution, Section 6(3) and 4 of the Public Appointment Parliamentary Approval Act, and Standing Orders 45(3) of the National Assembly. In that particular notification, Madam Speaker, this House, through the clerk, notified the general public through a Gazette notice on 19th and 20th August 2026, inviting the general public to submit memoranda by way of written statements on the oath on the suitability of each of the nominees. The public was notified, and in fact, the process started. However, Madam Speaker, the clerk of the National Assembly, via letters dated 23rd August, members wrote to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. They also wrote to the DCI, they wrote to Higher Education Loans Board, and all the relevant government agencies about the compliance of the two candidates on their suitability or making sure that they follow the government requirements. However, the relevant government agencies returned and gave that all the two officers were able or had actually complied with the government statutory requirements. However, Madam Speaker, I also note that on 25th, yes, Madam Speaker, I want to note this. On 25th, a court in Kerugoya placed a stay on the process. And when they placed that particular stay, the committee complied. And in fact, we waited, and on 18th of August 2026, the statutory process was actually lifted, and the committee now proceeded to vet the two candidates. During the vetting process, I want to just be very clear that the two candidates appeared before the committee in a plenary, and we vetted them on the 6 requirements of the Chapter 6. We went through the oral interviews, we checked through the documentary, we went through the process of the law, and we found that the two candidates appeared. We went through their educational qualification, we went through their work experience, we looked into a lot of issues. One, Madam Lentojoni proved and we saw in her appearance that she had a wealth of experience on teacher education. She rose through the ranks as a classroom teacher. She went through to become a school administrator, rose through the ranks to be an administrator in the teaching service, and through her career, she showed a lot of competence, a lot of knowledge in the teaching service, and more importantly, she rose through to be the director of teacher management at the Teacher Service Commission. During her time as an administrator and as a public servant, at no time was she found to be wanting in terms of attending to duty or even attending to her work. In fact, the committee noted that she had shown a lot of exemplary performance in her work. In fact, she got a lot of accolades in forms of certificates and acknowledgement from various government officials about her performance. Similarly, Honorable Soshon rode through the ranks, having been a classroom teacher of teaching biology and agriculture, became a classroom teacher, an administrator, and rose through the ranks to be the Secretary General of Kenya National Union of Teachers. And two, he also served as a nominated member of parliament of this house in the 11th parliament, in the 12th parliament, having been nominated by ODM. We asked him if he had resigned, and we got a clean bill of health from the registrar of political parties that he had actually resigned. Two, Honorable Sosion also showed a lot of knowledge in education, in administration, and in the teaching service. Honorable Speaker, through those particular approval hearings, we realized that the two candidates are suitable, are actually able to carry out their duties as commissioners of the Teacher Service Commission. We also took them through if they have an understanding of what the Teacher Service Commission do in their mandate, and they show a lot of excellence in understanding, knowledge, and ability. Honorable Speaker, the committee in its plenary actually participated a lot, and I want to say that I want to thank the members who participated. Over 13 members sat down, interviewed the two candidates, asked them questions, and we followed the law to the letter, and finally, the committee approved, agreed that the House approved the two candidates to be members of the Teacher Service Commission. Honorable Speaker, I therefore move and call upon the Vice Chairperson of the committee, Honorable Eve Obara, to second this motion. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. Honorable Eve.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I beg to second the motion so ably moved by the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Education. Honorable Speaker, having sat through the entirety of these appraisal hearings, alongside the chairperson and the other members of the committee, I rise to associate myself fully with the findings just presented to the House and to underscore a few matters that, in my respectful view, put beyond doubt the case for approving both nominees. I wish to draw the attention of the House to the manner in which this process was conducted, because it is the process as much as the individuals that this House is being asked to endorse. 255 Kenyans competed for the two positions before a selection panel constituted by law. 9 memoranda were received from members of the public during the participation window this committee opened, and everyone supported the nominees. Honorable Speaker, where the process was interrupted by a court order, this committee did not push through. It stopped and it resumed only once the High Court itself, after hearing all parties, lifted that order. Honorable Speaker, a process that withstands both open public scrutiny and judicial scrutiny and emerges from both unshaken is a process this House can rely on. Honorable Speaker, beyond the process, I was personally persuaded by the caliber of the two individuals who appeared before us. Honorable Wilson Sossion answered the questions this committee put to him on his years of union leadership and on his recent time in this House, and satisfied us that he understands the difference between advocating for teachers and now being asked to steward the commission that employs them. Ms. Antonina Lentojoni, for her part, did not shy away from the fact that she is presently a senior officer of the very commission she has been nominated to help govern. She committed openly to recuse herself wherever a conflict arises, and I am satisfied that her decades of institutional experience will serve the commission well rather than compromise it. In closing, Honorable Speaker, for these reasons and for the reasons already set out by the chairperson when moving, I beg to second the motion, and I urge the House to approve the appointment of Honorable Wilson Sossion and Ms. Antonina Lentojoni as members of the Teachers Service Commission. Thank you.
Honorable members, I therefore propose, Honorable Sunguya, order. Honorable members, I therefore propose the question that taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee on Education in its report on the approval hearings of nominees for appointment as members of the Teacher Service Commission laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 25th August 2026, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 252B of the Constitution, Section 8(8) of the Teacher Service Commission Act, Cap 212, and Section 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F, this House approves the appointment of the following persons as members of the Teacher Service Commission. Number 1, Ms. Antonina Lentojoni, and number 2, Honorable Wilson Sossion. Honorable members, there is, you know, the CS Treasury is to appear on the floor anytime from now, but I'll give members to debate. So don't lift your hands. As long as you're here, I'll see you. Don't lift your hands. Order, members. Honorable members, if we keep it short, many of us will get to speak. Okay? Member for Moyale.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Those who...
Can we get our team to assist Honorable Millie and the rest who are struggling with the system?
Thank you, Mr.
Intervention in the meantime. It is working.
Madam. But you have no card, Madam Millie.
Honorable Member for Moyale, you have the floor. Do not respond to Honorable Millie.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I stand to support the motion and that approves the appointment of those two officers to the Teacher Service Commission. I want to state that Sossion, having served as a NAT official, Secretary General in the country, knows and understands education in Kenya. Madam Antonina, the girl from Samburu, northern Kenya, who rose through the ranks to become director of staffing at the TSC, knows education and TSC more than anybody else. There is no other person more suitable than the pastoralist girl who rose through the ranks to become director of staff at the TSC and demonstrated her ability to lead the commission. With those few remarks, I support the motion.
Thank you. You have done very well with time. Then many of you will get to speak. Honorable Naisula.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to thank the Committee of Education on this report, and I also stand to support this report. Please protect me from the majority leader, Madam Speaker. I have worked, and I know Honorable Sossion. I know the work that he has done for this country when he was the SG of NAT, and I know that he will be taking a lot of competence to that commission. Madam Speaker, allow me to say one or two things about Antonina Lentoi-Joni, a girl from Samburu County, Samburu East constituency, and the work and the role that she has played at the TAC, where she has been a director of staffing, a position that she held as an acting position, but later as a substantive director. Very quickly, Madam Speaker, let me just highlight 2 or 3 things that Antonina, as the staffing director at TAC, did. She spearheaded the development of teacher staffing norms 2025, also the teacher internship policy, policy on appointment of institutional administrators, teacher recruitment and selection policy, policy framework for the utilization of teachers outside Kenya, and recognition, reward, and sanctions policy. But most importantly, Madam Speaker, the 100,000 teachers who have been recruited so far were overseen by Antonina Lentoi-Joni as the staffing director, and also coordinated promotion of over 100,000 teachers countrywide. Finally, Madam Speaker, this just shows that it doesn't matter where you come from, which part of this country you're from, but given an opportunity to serve this nation, mostly actually people from where I come from and other minorities serve diligently, and they should be given more opportunities to serve in this country. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Very well. Honorable Julius Taitumu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to support the approval of the 2 nominees, Honorable Sosion and Madam Antonina Lentoi-Joni. I sat in the Committee of Education that did the vesting process all throughout. Having been an art official for about 11 years, I've known these 2 members for quite some time. Mr. Sosion is one in this country who understands the education processes more than any other. We have seen him throughout the nation TVs in all media houses trying to defend this country on matters concerning the CBC, competency-based education, and all the programs that this government undertakes. Honorable Sosion rose from a classroom teacher where he taught for about 12 years to become the Executive Secretary for the Kenya National Union of Teachers, Bomet branch, and later the Secretary General of NAT for a period spanning in teaching service for about 30 years. He was also a member of this house in the tour of the parliament representing the workers of this country. This means that Honorable Sosion understands the structure, the needs, the requirements that are required to run the education system better in this country. Madam Lentoi-Joni is one who has rose from a very humble background, but a lady with a very illustrious career, a lady who is so professional, very humble, and a person who conducts a business with a lot of respect that is required. If you visit her in her office, she treats everyone with respect, regardless of where you come from, regardless of your status. Madam Speaker, these are the most qualified people, and that's why I believe once approved by this House, they will do their work diligently, and they will serve the Commission with the commitment and also iron out the issues and the creases that there might be in the teaching service concerning the Teacher Service Commission. With those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I stand to support the appointment.
Minority Whip.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I stand to support the 2 nominees that have been brought before the House. Madam Speaker, so the other members have indicated, if you look at Madam Antonina, she has had a very progressive career, and I think by enabling her to rise to the TSC commissioner level, it shows that actually commitment pays. And Madam Speaker, also the other thing is that because she comes from a minority, it means that we are also focused on inclusion of the minority. Madam Speaker, I also want to say we've served there with Honorable Sosion. He was an advocate, a very strong advocate for teachers. So they actually bring a balance. You have one that has risen through the ranks and worked in TSC, so has very clear technical interests and support of TSC as an institution. But you have another one who also has a lot of interest in teachers' issues. And I hope Honorable Sission does not forget the teachers when he gets there, because sometimes you get to a place where you've been advocating and lobbying, and when you get there, sometimes you forget. So we are encouraging him not to forget the teachers that have enabled him to get there. Madam Speaker, I do support.
Member for Endebess.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to support the appointment of Honorable Sosion and Antonina Lentoijoni as TSC commissioners. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Sosion served with us in this House as a nominated member of Parliament on ODM, which is part of the broad-based government, and he is moved to support the government on many of the stations, especially on matters development and matters education. So he's a right person. He's also been NAT Secretary General for many years, and that puts him in a position to understand both the needs of the teachers and also how the employer of the teachers can be able to perform well to make sure that there is harmony between our teachers in terms of their needs and also our employer in terms of what they need to offer. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support.
Ikiara.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I stand to support this motion that Honorable Wilson Sosion and Honorable Antonina be considered as nominees, both nominees to serve as commissioners at the Teacher Service Commission. Honorable Madam Speaker, Wilson Sosion is a person known to me for 20 years. I've worked with him for 20 years. He rose from the position of a classroom teacher, became an executive secretary, Bomet branch. He rose again. Teachers identified him because of his competency and zeal to serve teachers. And he became the Secretary General of Kenya National Union of Teachers from 2010 up to 2021. Honorable Sosion was also the president of Kenyan teachers in representing Africa region, which draws 133 countries worldwide. Wilson Sosion is a person who is committed in whatever he does in the education sector, bearing in mind that he was very pivot in formulating the education charter, which oversaw the transition of CBC. Wilson Sosion is known to be a champion of the Kenyan teachers, and I also want to say strongly, him having been an advocate of teachers, he stands a very good position today when he is approved by this House to serve as a commissioner and bring tangible reforms. He should be pivot in bringing tangible reforms that will see the teachers of this country enjoying the knowledge that he has, because I'm sure he has the capacity. Antonina is known to me also for a long period, having risen from a community, marginalized community, and rising to the position of becoming a staffing director at the Teacher Service Commission. She is very pivotal in overseeing the transition and employment of the 100 teachers, 100 teachers who have been employed by this administration. And I want to wish both Sosion and Antonina well as they serve the Kenyan teachers. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Deputy Majority Whip.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also contribute to this very special motion of consideration of the two nominees. Honorable Speaker, I also want to congratulate Honorable Wilson Sosioni and Antonina Lentojoyon. Honorable Speaker, the two are well known to us, and especially those of us who have gone to TSC, we have interacted with Antonina. And she has served all of us and the entire nation with a lot of diligence. And she's a very committed person, and TSC needs people like this. Honorable Wilson is well known to us, and his experience and his passion on teachers, students, and the entire ministry is something that will benefit the entire nation. I wish both of them the best, and also pray that they will continue serving this, even those who have believed that they are marginalized. Today, we feel that we are part of this country. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I congratulate the two.
Honorable Gisairo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, first of all, I rise to support this report on the appointment of the two. Honorable Speaker, I did sit in the committee that vetted the same two candidates, Osion and Lotonjoni. Honorable Speaker, as a committee, we did get 9 memorandums, and 7 of them were actually sworn affidavits. None of this was negative to the two. They were all in full support, people of diverse backgrounds from the teaching and other sectors. They fully supported the appointment of the two. Honorable Sosion brings a lot of experience, having been a classroom teacher, an art official, and having been in the industry for years. He brings a lot of knowledge, and having been from the side that was advocating for teachers, he now goes to the side that needs to implement some of the issues that he used to raise from the other side. And we do hope that some of the files that may have been sitting within TSC while he was in NAT, he gets a clear opportunity to assist, have those issues being implemented, and he will provide a very good bridge between TSC and the teachers in terms of communication. Honorable Speaker, Madam Letonjoni has been with TSC, and within the period that I've served in the committee, we've gotten to interact with her as a committee and known the depth of experience that she holds in that body of the teacher's body. Honorable Speaker, she is a calm and collected lady, always ready to listen and assist where she can the best way possible. This is a strong person to have within the commission to help steer that commission towards the coming days and years as we try to address the challenges facing the teachers in terms of teacher shortages, teacher tooling, and all those aspects that make a Kenyan teacher a better teacher. So we do have a couple of 2 great Kenyans who we believe are going to be positive when it comes to the teaching profession. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I support.
Member for Samburu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this chance also to contribute on the appointment of the 2 nominees who are presented to this House. First, let me thank the committee for the good work they have done in giving us the best candidates for these 2 positions that were announced by the Commission. And Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, I want also to thank the President for putting Samburu today on top. Because, Madam Speaker, I think I've complained more than many times here that we always come to approve names here for big positions, and Samburu has always been very minimally appearing. But today, Madam Speaker, we are the happiest county that one of our own has been appointed to a good position. And we know Antonina deserves this position, Madam Speaker, for the good work she has done for this country. From the position of a teacher up to the position of the director she is currently holding. She's a very calm lady, bright, and always ready to serve. I know, Madam Speaker, that to the commission, she's going to bring a lot of experience and give good service to the teachers of this country. So let me thank the Committee of Education for giving us this opportunity, and also thank the President very sincerely for giving Samburu County this position. I'm sure Antonina will not let you down. She will not let down this country. She's going to bring a lot of experience and serve this country diligently. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Omboko?
Thank you, and I support and thank the President for nominating the two. Antonina is a perfect machine at the Teacher Service Commission, and she understands the system. So she's able to do that work very well. So Sion, very experienced, and we want to thank the President for nominating a trade unionist to also go and become a commissioner. And I want to ask Sion that you are now our first person in that position, and therefore do a good job so that in the future, trade unionists can also be considered for these serious positions. And we are putting our eggs and all investment in you to do a perfect job. As you join the commission, the two of you being very seasoned, you are confronted with the following, which you must tackle. And what the commission now requires is braveness and the ability to move forward, because we are lacking that agility to just make next steps. Number one, the CBA for teachers has not been completed, and there's a promissory note that it be paid in one phase, the remaining 16 billion. This is a business that you are confronted with. Promotion of teachers, a promissory note from His Excellency is that there must be 50,000 per year, and what has been given for promotion is 34,000, and therefore you have a balance of 16 to go and make sure that this happens now. As commissioners, you reach out to SRC, presidency, and the ministry to actualize what the President wanted to actualize for teachers. CPG, career progression, it has been removed, yes, but it's not completed, and therefore teachers are waiting for the fullness of the realization of CPG, the career progression, which led to stagnation of teachers in the same job groups for the longest time. Job evaluation. This is one problem that teachers are facing, and which has made the teachers not be promoted, because job evaluation has never been done. And I think so Sion will be doing the best job here, because you remember the woods which you went through with myself over the job evaluation for teachers, and you have now a chance to actualize it so that teachers can benefit after the job evaluation. As you join, the two of you, remember that many teachers, and more than half of the teachers, are stagnated in C2, C3, and C4. But above all, half of the principals and deputies are acting. And therefore, we hope you will put in new effort to make sure that the acting teachers are made permanent and pensionable. There's a lot of exploitation of teachers as deputies and principals. And this is the debt that the government owes teachers, because they act for the longest time beyond the actual time that is required for acting, which is 6 months, as deputies and principals, and they are not paid for it. It's a pending bill that the Teacher Service Commission owes teachers of Kenya moving forward, and therefore they have to deal with this. We have the issue of NEC, which hires teachers and does not pay them appropriately with what is required. And this outsourcing, and rather sourcing of teachers as NEC examiners has been one of the poorest area. And one, the Teacher Service Commission, the commission which the two of you are going to now streamline so that there's a way that the NEC can actually hire teachers without exploiting them. You remember, honorable members and speaker, the NEC teachers who worked 1 year ago were only paid 3 weeks ago. This is something that we are looking upon, and more so we are investing in Wisdom Solution to go and give this commission the agility to move forward. Otherwise, I want to wish them well, but I cannot stop without telling the two nominees that the pensions, and I love the presence of Sossion there, teachers take 10 years before they get their pensions, and most of them die before they get the pensions. But we wish you well. I support.
I know members are raising their hands, but I have a full screen, honorable members. So allow us to try and follow as much as we can. Murugara?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me also to voice my support for these two nominees and thank the Committee on Education for work well done. Honorable Wilson Sossion, for sure, everybody knows him in this country. He has spoken for the teachers with the fervor, with the passion, dedication, zeal. And we cannot, under any circumstance, oppose his nomination. But we remind him that he has actually been speaking. Now he has to action. Let him action on behalf of the teachers so that wherever they are satisfied with their jobs. As regards the young lady, Antonina, who shares a name with a colleague of mine here who is also my friend. This is a lady I have known for a while. She served as the county director of TSC in Tharaka-Nithi. And by the time she left, all teachers were actually very fond of her. They were extremely happy with her service. And when she left, they were in gloom. She went to some county in the Rift Valley. I can't remember whether it was Nakuru, but eventually she came over here as a staffing director. She has done a fantastic job. We have no reason whatsoever not to approve her. Let her extend that expertise now to serving teachers in this different capacity. I do support.
Makilap? Honorable Kamket, what is out of
Thank
order?
you.
Hold on.
Thank
Honorable
you.
Makilap, hold on.
Let me finish.
Honorable Speaker, I raise understanding order number 95. Given that the House is agreed on this motion, and most of all that is being said is repetitive, may I ask that the mover be called to reply?
Honorable members.
We have other pending business.
Honorable members, the member is well by the standing orders to rise in his place to request that the mover be called to reply, but it's definitely a decision of the House. So allow me, because the Honorable Makilap was on his feet, that we allow him to make his contribution, and then I will put that question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to support this report of our Committee of Education on approval of Honorable Sossion Wilson and Antonina Lendon-Johnny. Madam Speaker, I have known the two for many years. I served in the union as the chairman of NAT in Baringo when Sossion was the secretary of Bomet, and I served as the vice chairman of Rift Valley when we nominated Sossion to NEC. Madam Speaker, the gentleman in Sossion is a man that has a lot of knowledge and experience in the teaching profession, both as an activist in the KNUT and advocate of teachers of Kenya, and now to our policy decision, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we asked Sossion, how will you now manage the comparative politics of NAT and the management of being a commissioner in TSC? And Madam Speaker, Honorable Sossion assured this committee that he will undergo metamorphosis and behave in accordance to law and the standards of a commissioner. Madam Speaker, we were satisfied because this man brings in a lot of experience internally and externally from unions all over the world. Madam Speaker, that is the right person on the right job. Madam Speaker, Antonina Lendon-Johnny, Madam Speaker, you know very well, Madam Speaker, that I also served after something in the union. I served in your constituency as a staffing officer. And my boss then was Antonina. And to make things even better, Madam Speaker, this girl from Samburu who broke the ranks to teach mathematics for many years, a subject that has been has been very difficult for many others to teach that subject. Madam Speaker, that is the jewel that has grown through the union, through the Teacher Service Commission, from a classroom teacher of teaching mathematics all the way to Director of Staffing. Director of Staffing in TSC, Madam Speaker, is a serious matter. You are in charge of recruitment, promotion of 400 personnel. This is not a mini 400,000 teachers of Kenya. Madam Speaker, being a director of staffing, managing 400,000 teachers of Kenya, and even managing the union, Madam Speaker, that lady is the jewel that is required in the commission. So Sean is the knowledge that is required in the commission, and we hope from now CPS, collective bargaining agreements, will not take teachers again to the streets because we have the best minds in the commission. With this, Madam Speaker, I call upon members to find favor in their hearts and approve these two to serve in the commission, the Teacher Service Commission of Kenya, as commissioners. I support, Madam Speaker.
Member for Baringo North has really shunned intimidation from his neighborhood to finish. Honorable members, a member rose in his place and request that we call the mover to reply, and I will do exactly that the mover be called to reply. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Mover.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the House. I want to thank the members for the contribution. I also want to thank the clerk, the Speaker, and the House for the process that went through. The members of the public participated a lot, and I think, Madam Speaker, this approval hearing process is quite important because it involved all the members of the public. The courts also had their say, and finally, the House has spoken, and I want to thank each of the members that has actually contributed. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the clerks and the logistical team of the House, the directorates, and everyone who has actually participated in this and made this process a success. I want to say that this process went on very well, and I thank each one of the members that contributed. I say thank you, and I support.
You reply. Honorable members, allow me to put the question that taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee on Education in its report on the approval hearings of nominees for appointment as members of the Teacher Service Commission laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 25th August 2026, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 252B of the Constitution, Section 8.8 of the Teacher Service Commission Act, Cap 212, and Section 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F, this House approves the appointment of the following persons as members of the Teacher Service Commission. 1, Ms. Antonina Letoinjoni, and 2, Honorable Wilson Sosion. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, as had been directed by the Speaker, the CS Treasury, National Treasury and Economic Planning is supposed to be in the House. I see the Majority Leader has already produced him here. He's supposed to come to respond to two questions, two specific questions that are on the order paper. The CS is already here. There is, what is out of order, member from Mavoko? Point of what? I didn't know we have a point of inquiry. I don't know what standing orders you're using. Honorable Kingola. Give him the mic. Give the Honorable Macau the mic.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you so much. Recently, we passed a law here that all former members of parliament will not be appointed to any government institution. I was just wondering, is it in order?
Order. Honorable Macau, unless you do not read your own laws. You are totally out of order. Honorable members, the CS is here to respond to two questions from member for Tiati and member for Samburu West, Honorable Naisula Lesuda. So, Cabinet Secretary, you're welcome with your team. We'll go direct to the questions. And honorable members, this appearance, as had been directed by the Speaker, is specifically on these two questions. So we keep it relevant and focused on these two. Member for Tiati, ask question number 21.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to ask the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning the following questions. Number one, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a report on the implementation status of the Equalization Fund for the years ending 30th June 2023 and 2024 in Baringo County, including the amounts allocated and disbursed and the status of the projects undertaken so far? Number two, could the Cabinet Secretary state the plans by the National Treasury to utilize the Equalization Fund directly for the implementation of approved projects in line with Article 204(3)(b) of the Constitution, so as to eliminate administrative delays and pilferage?
Are you reading the same question I'm reading? Do not add words.
3, could the Cabinet Secretary outline plans by the ministry to strengthen coordination between the national government, county governments, and other implementing agencies to ensure effective delivery of equalization projects at the local level, in line with the principles of cooperation under Article 6 of the Constitution?
Very well. Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker and honorable members of the National Assembly. I want to respond to the questions raised by Honorable Kamket but I'll start by giving background. Madam Speaker, allow me just to give a brief background on the fund. The Equalization Fund is established under Article 204 of our Constitution 2010, which requires that 0.5% or 0.5% of all revenue collected by the national government each year, calculated on the basis of the most recent audited revenue as approved by the National Assembly, be paid into the fund. Under Article 204(2), the national government may use the fund only to provide basic services in areas of water, roads, health facilities, and electricity to marginalized areas to the extent necessary to bring the quality of those services to the level generally enjoyed by the rest of the nation, so far as possible. So, Madam Speaker, the fund is currently operationalized by the Public Finance Management Equalization Fund Administration Regulations of 2021. The regulations provided for establishment of the Equalization Fund Board, Secretariat, and County Technical Committees in beneficiary counties, Treasury to develop an appropriate instrument for the administration of the fund. Now let me speak to what is the scope of what I'm presenting today. One, this submission is made to facilitate the discussion whereby the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning has been scheduled to appear here today to address two questions, but I will start with this one by Honorable William Kamket. So I'm required to address 3 questions relating to the same topic and explain, give an explanation and status report of the Equalization Fund in terms of how it has been utilized, more specifically in Baringo County. So let me go straight into addressing the questions. Madam Speaker, I was required to report on the implementation status of the Equalization Fund for the years ending 30th June 2023 and 2024 in Baringo County, including the amounts allocated and disbursed and the status of the projects undertaken. The Equalization Fund Appropriation Act of 2023, Madam Speaker, appropriated 595,027,099 shillings for the provision of basic services, water, roads, health, and electricity to the 90 marginalized areas spread across 15 wards and 4 constituencies of Baringo County. The position is summarized in a table below, where I've indicated the amount appropriated. I've also given marginalized areas, wards, and constituencies covered in terms of project coverage. The project proposals submitted were valued at 592 million for 150 projects, but projects that were approved by the board were 140.
Hold on, CS. What is out of order, Kamket? Give Honorable Kamket the mic.
Madam Speaker, I did not want to interrupt the CS.
You have already interrupted.
I did not want to. But what is reading, I do not have. I thought parliamentary practice is that he should have provided the reply before. Now he's reading his own things. We do not know whether what he's referring to.
Honorable Kamket, we will organize for you to get a copy, but this response is for the House. So
they should have even given the response to the House, not for me.
We give, it will be given, but in the meantime, let the CS just give the response. You'll be getting the copy. Sunkuli.
I'm just trying to say, if you listen to the answer, the Honorable CS is saying the table below. That presupposes a situation where we have a written document so that we can follow the table. I'm sure he does not want to read the table because he believes that the answer has been supplied.
Clerk, can we get the response in circulation? Honorable Ruto. It's also because you're not using your card, Honorable Ruto. Yes. Locating you becomes a problem.
Okay, thank you, Madam Speaker. Actually, you really indicated what I wanted to say, so that in the interest of time, Cabinet Secretary to find time to be here today is not as always as it is, as you know how busy that ministry is. But would you guide officially that copies now be presented to us so that we're able to follow?
I already did, and let this be on the 2 questions, because I see the other question, without preempting, also has some breakdowns that would need for the members to follow as you read. But continue, CS, as we get the copies. How far are we, Clerk? At least give Honorable Kamket the first copy. Yeah, he already has a copy. Continue, Honorable CS.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and my apologies for this response getting to members late. But the table I was referring to, number 1 item is the amount that was appropriated by this House, Equalization Fund Appropriation Act of 2023. In Baringo County, it was 595,027,099 shillings. Then I have also indicated that the marginalized areas that were identified were 90, wards were 15, and constituencies covered were 4. And then project proposals that were submitted were valued at 592,869,000, covering 150 projects, and projects approved by the board were 144 out of the 150. Amount that was requisitioned and transferred to the county, that is a special purpose account of the county, is 174,145,208. In terms of fund absorption rate, as at 30th June 2026, for that financial year, was just 29%. Projects at 90 to 100% completion were 46 out of the 144, and projects below 50% completion were 88 in number. So that is the first response to the first question. Question number 2 was on plans by the National Treasury to utilize the Equalization Fund directly for the implementation of approved projects in line with Article 204, Sub-Article 3B of the Constitution, so as to eliminate administrative delays. So I was supposed to respond to that. So, Madam Speaker, this is my response. The fund was first operationalized through the guidelines on the administration of the Equalization Fund, which were published via Gazette Notice number 1711 of 2015, which provided for direct implementation by national government ministries, departments, and agencies. The Council of Governors challenged the matter, challenged the constitutionality of those guidelines through High Court petition number 272 of 2016. In its decision, which was arrived at in 2019, the High Court granted the prayers of the COG and declared that the 2015 guidelines were unconstitutional and directed the National Treasury to develop an appropriate instrument for the administration of the fund. Consequently, the Public Finance Management Equalization Fund Administration Regulations of 2021 were developed to guide the utilization of the fund as called conditional grants to county governments. Those are the guidelines that are in place today. So accordingly, the National Treasury will seek the advice of the Office of the Attorney General on a review of the 2019 High Court judgment and will submit a revised position for consideration once that advice is obtained. In the meantime, or in the interim, administrative delays are being addressed within the conditional grant framework, notably through direct transfer of approved funds into county special purpose accounts under the July 2024 guidelines, which shortens the disbursement chain, together with continued streamlining of project appraisal, approval, and disbursement. Question number 3 was asking me plans by the ministry to strengthen coordination between the national government, county governments, and other implementing agencies to ensure effective delivery of Equalization Fund projects at the local level in line with the principles of cooperation under Article 6 of the Constitution. And this is my response, Madam Speaker. The PFM, Equalization Fund Administration Regulations 2021, establishes a multi-tiered institutional framework for the oversight of the implementation of the fund at both the national and county levels. This framework is intended to ensure the effective management and implementation of the fund from the national level down to the community level. So at the national level oversight, Madam Speaker, 2 bodies provide strategic direction and administrative support for the fund. One is the Equalization Fund Advisory Board, which provides strategic leadership and oversight. And that board is chaired by a member appointed by the Cabinet Secretary. And we have even principal secretaries of National Treasury and the principal secretary in charge of devolution. And then we have other members. Then the second body is the Secretariat, which is led by the CEO. It provides day-to-day technical and operational support in the implementation of the fund. Now, at the county and community level, coordination consists of: 1 is the CTC, that is County Technical Committee, consisting of County Commissioner, who chairs it, the CEC members in charge of finance, Constituency Development Fund managers sit in that committee and chairperson, and a county assembly representative and heads of the implementing sectors. At the sub-county technical committee level, which assesses project feasibility and cost, monitoring implementation and prepares quarterly progress reports, and also strengthening coordination and accountability at the county level. Here, it's being, then we have the Project Identification and Implementation Committee. It conducts public participation, this is at the lower level, identifies and prioritizes projects responsive to local needs, and provides oversight of implementation, embedding inclusivity and accountability at the community level. So measures that we have taken to strengthen coordination. A, we have operationalized a formal collaboration framework, institutionalized joint monitoring and verification, providing capacity building and technical support. We are also strengthening reporting, M&E and a central information system. E, we are deepening structured intergovernmental engagement and sustaining community participation and accountability. So, Madam Speaker, that is my response to the first question on the same topic by the Honorable Kamket. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, Honorable Kamket, just hold it a bit. Honorable members, I know you have a lot of follow-up questions, and I know there is a lot of interest on this matter. But allow us, so that we have better order, that we let the member for Samburu West ask her question, let the CS respond, then we'll take any follow-up question together. Member for Samburu West.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Could the Cabinet Secretary provide the status of the Equalization Fund in terms of arrears and disbursements made as of the financial year 2026-2027, including a county-by-county breakdown of allocation and releases? Secondly, provide a report on the progress made in the implementation of the Equalization Fund since its inception, including an assessment of whether its implementation and actual disbursements to beneficiary counties are consistent with the constitutional objective of uplifting the most marginalized areas. And lastly, Madam Speaker, explain the rationale for changing the number of counties benefiting from the Equalization Fund from the initial 14 counties to the current 34 counties. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
CS.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Now, I will not go back again to the background, because that I did while answering the other question by Honorable Kamket. Now, to the questions raised by the MP for Samburu West, the Honorable Naisula Lesuda. First, I was required to provide status of the Equalization Fund in terms of arrears and disbursement made as of the financial year 26-27, including a county-by-county breakdown of allocations and releases. Status of the transfer. Madam Speaker, cumulative receipts into the fund since its inception is 22,422,361,366 shillings, against cumulative constitutional entitlements of Kenya shillings 90,343,414,499. So in the table, and I hope now members have this, this answer or the response with them, the table that I've titled 2, entitlement, payment, and arrears to the Equalization Fund as at 30th June 2026. So if you look, the first column is a financial year. The base year is simply the year that we use to calculate how much was supposed to be transferred to the Equalization Fund. Then we have indicated the audited and approved revenues based on the law. And then Equalization Fund entitlement, I have listed that column, and you can see the total is 90 billion plus. Then amount in DORA has been indicated. If you check, you'll find the first 3 years there was nothing. Then payment into Equalization Fund is amounting to 39 billion, 222 million, 361,366. And then arrears is 51 billion, 121 million, 53,133. So let me now elaborate. Disbursements under the Equalization Fund Appropriation Act of 2018, 12.4 billion. Now, Madam Speaker, Under the Equalization Fund Appropriation Act 2018, Parliament appropriated 11,801,199,601 for the implementation of 360 projects across the 14 beneficiary counties identified under the first marginalization policy. So the first marginalization policy identified only 14 counties and 360 projects were proposed for implementation at a cost of 11 billion plus. The full appropriated amount was subsequently transferred by the National Treasury into the Equalization Fund account to facilitate project implementation. By the end of the financial year ended 30th June 2026, cumulative transfers from the Equalization Fund to the implementing ministries, departments, and agencies amounted to 10,976,662,326, representing a 95% of the approved allocation. And I have put there the table of each county, the 14 counties which actually benefited in the first formula, and then the allocated amount and the transferred amount. You can see there's just a small difference. Now, disbursement under Equalization Fund Appropriation Act of 2023. Now, this one occurred after the change in regulations. Madam Speaker, under the Equalization Fund Appropriation Act 2023, Parliament has appropriated 10,023,440,883 for the implementation of projects in the marginalized areas identified under the second marginalization policy. In accordance with Regulation 24 of the PFM Equalization Fund Administration Regulations of 2021, these resources are disbursed as conditional grants to beneficiary county governments through special purpose accounts established for the implementation of Equalization Fund projects. By the end of the financial year ended 30th June 2026, cumulative disbursements to beneficiary county governments amounted to 6,924,402,672. 13 counties had absorbed 90 to 100%. And these counties include Isiolo, Mandera, Marsabit, Murang'a, Homa Bay, Taita Taveta, Nandi, Kajiado, Meru, Samburu, Kisumu, Turkana, and Tharaka Nithi. Those counties, 13 of them, actually absorbed from 90 to 100% out of the 34 counties. However, 7 counties had recorded nil absorption, including Bomet, Busia, Elgeyo Marakwet, Garissa, Kericho, Lamu, and Trans Nzoia counties. The fund continues to provide close support to the 7 counties to enable them to progress the approved projects through the implementation and payment cycle, so that expenditure commences and absorption improves. I have given a table again, Madam Speaker, which I believe members are able to follow, and you can see the percentage of absorption, including the counties that I've mentioned, which have consumed 0, and those which have consumed 100%, like Isiolo and like Mandera, and also Murang'a, which have consumed 100%, and the others between 90 and 100. Now, I was also required, Madam Speaker, to provide a report on the progress made in the implementation of the Equalization Fund since its inception, including an assessment of whether its implementation and actual disbursements to beneficiary counties are consistent with the constitutional objective of uplifting the most marginalized areas. This is my response, Madam Speaker and honorable members. Under the first marginalization policy, as I reported earlier, 360 projects valued at 11.8 billion were approved for implementation across the 14 marginalized counties. As at 30th June 2026, 266 of these projects had been reported by the implementing MDAs as fully complete, and 31 projects substantially complete. But under the second marginalization policy, a cumulative total of 1,624 projects valued at approximately 9.94 billion had been approved for implementation as at 30th June 2026. Out of this, 1,072 projects reportedly fully complete. Projects under these two policies are spread across the sectors as envisaged in the Constitution. Disbursements under the two policies are restricted to basic services, which include water, roads, health facilities, and electricity. These are mentioned in the Constitution. Currently, cumulative transfers from the Equalization Fund to the implementing ministries, departments, and agencies and of the beneficiary county governments amounted to 17.2 billion shillings. I have again provided the table under the details under table number 5, allocation and budget by sector of Equalization Fund appropriation of 2018 and that one of 2023. Now, lastly, Madam Speaker, I was asked to give a rationale for changing the number of counties benefiting from the Equalization Fund from the initial 14 counties to the current 34 counties. Madam Speaker, Article 216(4) of the Constitution of Kenya mandates the Commission on Revenue Allocation, CRA, to determine, publish, and regularly review a policy in which it sets out the criteria by which to identify the marginalized areas for purposes of the Equalization Fund. First, marginalization policy used the perception survey, a report on historical injustice, and a county development index to identify 14 counties. The second policy deviated from the first policy by using a sublocation as a unit of analysis instead of a county and identified 34 counties. So the CRA will provide more information regarding the criteria for identifying marginalized areas as per Article 216(4) of the Constitution. And I believe this formula is usually submitted to the National Assembly. So in conclusion, Madam Speaker, the National Treasury appreciates this Honorable House and is ready always to offer all the necessary information and clarification as is required. I thank you, Madam Speaker, and that's my submission.
Very well. Honorable members, allow me to first give Honorable Kamket for any clarification or follow-up question. Then we'll go to Honorable Naisula. Honorable Kamket, Honorable CS, kindly take note of the follow-up questions.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the Cabinet Secretary, in his response, stated, and I quote, that the National Treasury will seek advice of the Office of the Attorney General on a review of the 2019 High Court judgment and will submit a revised position for consideration once that advice is obtained. Honorable Speaker, I take it that I want to ask the CS, is it his position, therefore, that he is not satisfied with the judgment of the court? And given what is going on the ground, why has it taken him so long to review or to get that advice in order, therefore, to review the regulations and consider reverting to the old guidelines or even guidelines that allow the CS to directly utilize the funds given the amount of theft that is happening at the county level? Secondly, Madam Speaker, we are talking here politely about administrative delays. But indeed, what we are talking about is we have situations like, for example, in Baringo, we have intra-county marginalization. There is a deliberate delay by the county government, led by the county governor and his CECs, not to implement this fund. And that is why you'll find it is at 29%. Baringo, Madam Speaker, Tiati constituency has the highest allocation of equalization fund it's the most marginalized constituency in Kenya. And it's a shame that the county government is not able to implement this fund to help the people of that constituency. So I think those clarifications is what I need for now. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Very well. Member for Samburu West.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you, CS, for your response. Even though I feel like the responses were just lifted from somewhere, they are very book smart. But I need answers, especially from where you sit as the Cabinet Secretary, who then supervises and also releases these funds on issues of equalization fund, Madam Speaker. One is that there is an arrears of 75.2% of the total entitlement from when we started implementing the equalization fund. That is over 67 billion. I would like to know from the Cabinet Secretary what plans are there to ensure that these funds, because every other financial year will continue accumulating more arrears, while there was a reason why this equalization fund was initially captured in our constitution, Madam Speaker. So I would like to know what plans are there to see that these arrears are cleared in the soonest time possible. Secondly, I have listened to the Cabinet Secretary, and I remember also in this House, in the second policy, on why we moved from 14 counties to 34 counties. I just want to know the view of the Cabinet Secretary, because the drafters of this constitution, and I know that CRA is an independent commission, but the CS would have an input in just telling us there was a reason why the drafters of this constitution thought of the 14 counties. Now we are spreading thin to 34 counties, Madam Speaker, and then we're even going further towards, while then the whole issue, my own thinking, even as I think of the third policy, I'm not too sure when it's supposed to come, and I think the CS should really be keen on it as well. We are looking at counties that have been marginalized for so many years. A county where from corner 1 to corner 2 has no tarmac. A county where water is scarce from corner 1 to corner 2. We cannot have pockets of a county which is developed but only a ward. Then we include it to spread thin this money, Madam Speaker. Then lastly, on the issue of, on genuinely whether where you sit as a Cabinet Secretary, you feel these funds are meeting, now forget about the paper response. Tell us as a House, forget about the reports you get from different sectors telling you we've implemented these projects. Implementations of project is one thing, but is it meeting what it was intended to do? When you find a county doing a road of 7 million with equalization fund, 10 million, 15 million, how are we going to catch up with the rest of the country, Madam Speaker? So genuinely just tell us, not that the road is complete, but is it meeting the spirit of why we have equalization fund in the first place? Or we will continue to marginalize ourselves as we implement these projects. Madam Speaker, thank you very much.
I've indulged the two because they were the original questioners. And I know there's a lot of joyriders, but CS, I would like you to first respond to that. If there will be any other follow-up question, then we'll go to the question. Respond to the two first.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me respond to two questions each from the questioners, those who raised the questions, beginning with Honorable Kamket. And Honorable Kamket asked me specifically that when I've indicated that we are seeking advice from the Attorney General on whether to seek a review of the judgment or not, and whether this is an indication that I was not satisfied with the judgment. Let me put it this way. First, this judgment we lost out in the appeal because we did not appeal it. Therefore, what we can do is just to seek a review. I'm told by lawyers that that is permitted and allowable. As to whether I agree with the judgment or not, my position, and that this is a position of a non-lawyer, is that the Constitution speaks to implementation either directly or conditionally. I mean, as conditional grant. So in my view, I think my position would have been that the judge should have considered that the national government also had the constitutional mandate to administer or rather implement projects directly. But I don't want to question the wisdom of the judgment or try to appear like I am questioning the judgment. That is why I have sought an opinion from the Attorney General on how to progress. I am seeking, actually I have not even sought the opinion. Let me be very categorical about it, very clear. But we are going to seek that advice. In terms of intra-county marginalization, I can't agree more. As a matter of fact, the whole question of devolution, we need to start asking ourselves whether we are devolving resources sufficiently enough to the grassroots. Because we assumed that once we devolve resources from the center, the national government to the counties, that sanity will prevail at that local level. But at times, again, you find some regions, some areas within the county being marginalized for whatever reason, whether clan or voting demographics. So I agree that that needs to be looked into. And I don't really understand when Honorable Kamket says that there is a deliberate delay and probably bordering on sabotage of projects. It is my belief and understanding that these projects are actually generated by the same government, the same county government. They are the ones which their projects come through project identification and implementation committee, which then is cascaded to the sub-county and the rest and the rest. So I don't see why the counties would again fail to implement the projects they have participated and facilitated identification. But I would want to mention that in the event of inefficiencies, like it is in Baringo County, then we can suspend, the law allows us to suspend the funding of those projects. So that we can take action on if it is reported to us and we are certain that there is inefficiency. On the two questions by my sister Lesuda, on our plans that I have to eliminate the accumulation of arrears, this fund has had challenges from the beginning. By the way, the first financial year, which should have seen this fund having resources in it, was from 2010-2011 financial year, because immediately the constitution was passed, this fund was not suspended. But because there was no legal framework and a lot of challenges from the beginning, it took about 3 financial years, if not more, before the fund was put into effect. And that has led to challenges on this fund. And there have been issues with these formulas, and now we have accumulated so much arrears. And the other problem, and I'm not passing judgment on this house, but we have also noticed that any time when we have supplementary budget revisions, even without being proposed from the National Treasury, the National Assembly is usually very quick in removing equalization fund. So I would also appeal to this honorable house that please in future consider ring-fencing this any allocation already provided in equalization fund so that it doesn't again suffer the fate that it has suffered for over the years. So that is another reason why we have had arrears into this fund. Finally, what is my personal view on increasing the number of counties from 14 to 34? Honorable Speaker, Honorable Lesuda, through the Speaker, let me make it very clear that I was in this parliament when we passed the 2010 Constitution. I am very conversant and aware of why we went this route of creating a specific fund to target areas that have historically been marginalized. Actually, we were very clear in 2010 on what we meant by marginalization. It was not pockets of marginalization across the country. I will tell you that for a fact. And by the way, I come from a region which is also considered marginalized because it is a Yemen. You remember just the other day, Madam Speaker, some individuals, some characters across here went to my place and they called us, we are living in Yemen. I believe Yemen is, they use that word to clearly state that that area is marginalized, which is true. But the level of marginalization in Suba, South, or Homa Bay, which is also historical, cannot be compared, for example, to Mandera, or Wajir, or Isiolo, or Marsabit. So for Homa Bay, where I come from, which is also marginalized, and is Yemen, that marginalization cannot be compared to these other areas. So in my view, I think it was a mistake by Commission on Revenue Allocation to increase the number of counties from 14 to 34. That is my honest opinion, and I'm not saying it for the first time. I have said it before, even when I was launching a report by Equalization Fund. I said we must reconsider this second policy. It is now making us lose foresight and focus on why Equalization Fund was embedded in our Constitution. We can use other resources which are devolved to the counties to make those regions which have not been brought to where they should be. But for marginalization, equalization, let us confine it to the historically marginalized counties like Samburu, like Baringo, like Turkana, like Mandera, Wajir, Isiolo, Marsabit, and also Garissa. Those regions, no one can deny that those regions have historically been marginalized in this country. So that is my response to that question, and I hope those who are involved in decision-making for the third policy are listening to this debate, and my position as Cabinet Secretary is very clear on that. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, there is a lot of hands going up. Allow me to indulge Honorable Kamket. What is out of order?
Madam Speaker, I did not want the, thank you so much for indulging me. I did not want the Cabinet Secretary to get away with the final part of his answer, because the first policy, Honorable Speaker, left Tiati out of the group of marginalized areas. So when he says that he left Baringo and Tiati for that matter, thank you very much, Honorable Maklap, left Baringo out. And now, when the second policy is done, with the current, it became clear that actually the most marginalized constituency in Kenya is Tiati. So if the first policy did not identify that, how wrong is the second policy? So I think, Honorable Speaker, in as much as, marginalization is not a birthright of anyone. So those who are in the first policy must not be mean to the extent of denying others who benefited through the second policy.
Okay, honorable members.
So I think the Cabinet Secretary should not go that route. I think the Commission on Revenue Allocation did the right thing by going to the sub-location level in order to get the right report.
You have made your point.
Of marginalization.
Honorable Kamket and members, we have had this debate not once on this floor. Some of you were proponents of the expansion of the first policy. Some of you have not supported that expansion, but the CS was answering the question by Honorable Naisula if he personally, in fact it was a personal question, if he personally supports, and he has given his view, and he said it's a personal view, but the responsibility goes to the CRA. So, honorable members, I would want us to, yes, Honorable Naisula, there's a question you did not answer from Honorable Naisula, then I'll open it up.
Thanks, I'll be very brief. The last question was about the impact of the project because you've stated that the projects were complete, but it almost ties to the second question in terms of the impact of those projects that are being implemented, especially at the county level, whether you feel
Very well.
they meet the
In fact, CS, Naisula's first take was, do you personally feel the spirit of what the equalization fund was to achieve? Has it achieved? Yes, that was the question.
Madam Speaker, to be honest with ourselves, this fund has not achieved its intended objective. It has not, because really, if you look at the way we have spread it too thin, and that's why I still go back to my position. Yes, it could be true that probably we left one county or so with the first formula, and that can be considered. But expanding it to 34 and spreading it across the country, where now you say that almost every county has some pockets of marginalization, is missing the original intention of this equalization fund. Remember, when we were debating, and I was in this house, Madam Speaker, I remember some of us argued that even Nairobi, there are areas which are marginalized. So we are at times confusing poverty with marginalization. The two are not the same. There is poverty and there is marginalization, and we can use different strategies to address both of them. There is urban poor, there is rural poor, and then we have marginalized areas. And marginalized areas, you don't need rocket science to really know an area that is marginalized. You just drive there or make a point of visiting. And Madam Speaker, you will see real marginalization. And I'm happy that the Constitution even identified what is meant by marginalization: roads, health facilities, education, water, electricity. Clearly, an area which is marginalized in those bases, you can easily determine. So, but as to whether this fund has met its objective as a question by Lesuda, largely not. And to some extent, yes, some of the projects have made a whole lot of difference in people's lives in some of these areas. And I have visited a few areas and I've seen what the fund has done. But bringing the country to near equality or equalization as we had intended, because a country that is so divided in terms of, or so unequal, is a country that is very difficult to govern. Sometimes we just laugh about some of these things and even put them on social media and compare that, look how constituency Honorable Makelap is dusty, and you put a road leading to your bedroom which is so smooth, yet you know very well that even Makelap's taxes are on your road. And even if it was not his taxes, he's paying debt that was taken by some leaders who come from your village, who made sure that you have roads, and because his area has not produced a leader, then they are in dusty and you want to laugh at them. It is something that can bring civil unrest. It can create problem in the society. Part of what we saw in 2007, Madam Speaker, was the thinking in the people's minds that they are being marginalized. And that is why we almost lost a country. So in my view, if you ask me as a cabinet secretary, and I'm not speaking as someone who is coming from one corner of this country, because I know part of this money has gone even to Super South to address some marginalization in some sub-locations there. But I am not cabinet secretary for Super South. I am speaking about Kenya, and I know for sure there are areas which are so marginalized that they need this money more than other areas. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Very well. Honorable members, I know there is a lot of interest. If we keep the questions brief and precise, very many of us will speak. Honorable member for Marakwet West.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, CS. CS, under Table 4 of your submission, Elgeyo Marakwet County, as of the end of this August, has received 0 allocation. Would you give us the reason that informs that? Number 2, CS, since the Constitution was passed, we've never had an equalization fund the operational laws are, we have only subsidiary legislations and budget laws. There is no stand-alone substantive legislation on equalization fund. Do you think, as a CS for finance, that if we enact a substantive legislation on equalization fund, do you think we will unlock the challenges that we have, especially on the definition of terms like pockets of marginalization, which in my opinion was never envisaged by the Constitution? Finally, under the current framework, the regulation, operating regulation, we have under Regulation 8G, expressly mandates the Equalization Fund Advisory Board to establish a framework for collaboration between the national and county governments. But CS, why has this particular framework not been established, which provides for collaboration between the national and county governments so as to give effect to Article 6.2 of the Constitution? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Member for Funyula.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Looking at Table 4, I'm intrigued to understand, probably the Cabinet Secretary can explain why Garissa has had zero absorption and why Busia, with a small pocket in Budalangi, has had zero absorption. Finally, Honorable Speaker, you need to guide the Cabinet Secretary that members of Parliament are not some elements from here. We are members of Parliament. If he got iked because we exposed the hypocrisy in Homa Bay, we can do it outside there in a public rally. Thank you.
Member for Moyale.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
For members, I'm really trying to follow. If you want to speak on this specifically, do the intervention.
Madam Speaker, this is a very, very important debate. This cannot be closed.
And it's not a debate, honorable members, so it's follow-up questions.
Okay.
Be advised.
My question is, if you look at the team that comprises at the county level, the county commissioner is the chair. But when it comes to implementation of the project at the county, it's purely done by the county government. Yet, the decision made is all by provincial administrations and other members. How come the implementation of this thing, especially considering things like education, things like energy, is implemented by the county, and yet those are not devolved functions? To the extent that the projects which we proposed in 2023-2024, no, 2022-2023 have not been implemented up to now because the county government, I will be specific of Marsabit, wants to convert the money from transformers into construction, and therefore making us lose direction. Why did you people allow this kind of thing to happen, that the money will be implemented, the function will be implemented by the county government, yet it's not a county function? Thank you.
Chakapong.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to begin, first of all, by commending the CS for the timely disbursement of CDF. Then now, back to this. Honorable Speaker, the response by the CS looks very good on paper. But in reality, and those of us from the ground there, things are not as good as it's being presented here. Now, in page 7 of this presentation, we have committees: Project Identification Implementation Committee, Sub-County Technical Committee, and the County Technical Committees. The reality is that most of these projects are done by the county and not the project identification committees. So it now therefore turns out to be a county government program. And when you look at the County Technical Committee, Honorable Speaker, where the County Commissioner is the chair and the CEC Finance is a member, then it goes ahead to say that the County Assembly representative and heads of implementing sectors. So you find that within that meeting or that committee, you have a lot of chief officers, a lot of CECs, and many, then it turns out to be a county government issue. Then, Honorable Chair, how will the CS address duplication of resources in projects? Because what the counties are doing is that they are allocating equalization fund resources. At the same time, on top of that, they also allocate county government funds. Then one of the funds does the work, then the other one is being embezzled or is eaten by those people, if we can say that. Then now, again, there's something we've been dealing with, the relationship between equalization fund and the county governors. Is this their fund? Is this their fund? And then, so that question of duplication and whether the procurement of identification and procurement of projects of equalization fund can be brought to the national the national government. That would be a bit better. And then finally, Honorable Chair, projects that were in the first that benefited in the first marginalization policy and have not been completed, what becomes of them? They have taken many years, many have stalled, and nothing is happening. So what becomes of that? I have seen in West Pokot here that the absorption rate is 87%. And you find that when you go to look at the projects that have been funded through Equalization Fund, resources have been allocated. There is a road in my constituency that was allocated 26 million. They only did an open of 2 kilometers, and they said the money is finished. What happens? Thank you.
Honorable CS, I hope you're noting the questions. I know some will overlap. The specific issues you can note for each county. Kainan?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it's unfortunate, especially for those of us who have been part and parcel of the making or the inclusion of this particular article in the Constitution, just like my friend, the Honorable CS. And I'm sure you have also been in that time you were also in this Parliament. Madam Speaker, we need to understand the history of the inclusion of this particular clause in the August 2010 Constitution. I remember you were a nominated member of Parliament then. At that particular time, we had 3 contending groups. One group wanted a pure presidential system. The other group wanted a pure parliamentary system. There emerged a third group who wanted devolution and resource allocation. And when we converged in Naivasha, towards the end, when there was almost near disagreement, at the wee hours of the night, we sat down and said, look, let there be a middle ground. The middle ground for those who wanted a pure presidential system and those who wanted a pure parliamentary system. And the third group, we said, we must be given devolution and equalization fund. And equalization fund, madam, and all of us have gone to school, was on the basis of the Marshall Plan of 1948. That was enacted, that was actually promoted by the Americans to support those allies who have been vanquished at the end of the Second World War. This is the question for my good friend, CS. I must go on record and say you are one of the best ministers, finance ministers this country has ever had, because really, I took a bit of time to analyze what they have done for the people of Kenya. Truly, for a person like me, who has been here for quite some time, who has interacted with many different CSs or ministers for finance, that holistic approach to look at the face of Kenya is what we lack. Today, 2 of the questions that I wanted to ask, one you have answered affirmatively. Does the current equalization fund, this paper, reflect the thinking or the framers of the current constitution? The answer is a big no. That is the first thing. The second question is, what is your role as the man charged with protecting the taxpayers' money? You need to stop this. The third question, Madam Speaker, and I know you will empathize. We have had sessional paper number 10 of 1965, And one of the issues that this particular clause was meant to cure was to deal with the historical and constitutional marginalization certain regions have been subjected to. Madam Speaker, my question is this, and I'm sure I am competent enough to answer my question.
No, the problem, Honorable Kainan, is that if we make it a debate, then everyone will take 10 minutes.
This is the question. This is the question. Can the letter and the spirit of the current constitution be altered by the commission because of pressure by the political class? And that is exactly what policy, this second policy actually did. If that is the case, are we duty bound as members of parliament to continue funding equalization fund? The answer is, and I'm on record here, there is no iota of even one project of equalization in Wajir, and I want to be challenged. To that extent, I want to declare equalization as dead. Dead completely. Don't waste your money. It's a cash cow for governors. It's a cash cow for governors. Let's call a spade a spade. We cannot spend billions just to cover for the ills of a clique. So I want to urge you, and I will go on record.
Order, members.
Of course, you are competent enough to inform me.
Honorable Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, you know, I have seen the way Honorable Kainan has gotten very emotional on this subject and is having a very animated debate because of the pain that the people have suffered in many counties because of the failure of this equalization fund. And probably, Honorable Speaker, I was suggesting that not to just try and slow down Honorable Kainan, to agree with him, first of all, that indeed what has made many counties and many areas that are marginalized not have access to projects that benefit the people is probably a constitutional problem, and he put it very well. But also an issue that the National Treasury can help with in ensuring that they define what kind of projects can and should be funded through the equalization fund and find means and ways of stopping duplication. Because why Honorable Kainan is saying it has become a cash cow, because a governor identifies that they will fund the construction of a borehole in a certain locality using the equalization fund, then they equally budget the same through their shareable revenue. And that is where the stealing comes from, because there is no accountability. Probably, maybe just to ask Honorable Kainan as he concludes, because this matter is very emotive. You can see the way he was animated in his discussion. And we also have some other business, especially very important bills that are coming for Committee of the Whole House. We try wind up now to conclude this matter.
He's a very crafty, and you see, he has achieved what he wanted to achieve. But let me conclude by saying this, and thank you for the time. You see, Madam Speaker, and I'm glad that you have been around even when we did this. My take, and I want the minister to know this, now that you realize both the letter and the spirit of the inclusion of Article 204 in the current constitution have been deliberately disregarded. Taken into account that the policy, second policy, completely disregards the very provision. Considering that the number of counties to benefit this were increased from 14 to 34. Considering that all this was done maliciously, capriciously, and in a very offensive manner both to those who are to benefit and the architect of the current constitution, will you be kind enough to consider and say, look, notwithstanding all other interpretations, that it is no longer viable and wise to continue funding this until the stakeholders come together and come up with an acceptable, implementable, fair procedure that will take into account the very provision of Article 204. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the time.
Honorable members, I know, as has been said, that this issue is very emotive, but CS, the issues that are being raised are very similar. The issue of overlap of mandate, the issue of resting, including issues of procurement to the county, and the issue of accountability. But honorable members, I also don't want us to just load it to the CS, because you also have a responsibility. As members of this house, you have the powers of appropriation. You cannot tell the CS not to implement when you've already given money. So honorable members, it is a shared responsibility. So allow us to allow the CS to respond. If there will be something that is totally not answered, then we will follow it up. But I would hope that Honorable CS, with these responses on these major broad issues.
Madam Speaker, I completely agree with you, because I think the issues are basically common. And starting with why some counties have implemented zero is because is not because there's no allocation. You can see there is allocation, but either they have not even prepared proposals or they have not implemented anything. So we must just call it for what it is, that generally there are challenges around that space. In terms of whether we need standalone law, my view is no. Because Public Finance Management Act is very detailed. By the way, before we came up with the Public Finance Management Act after the Constitution was enacted, we had several laws, so many of them handling or dealing with public finance, and they were causing confusion, some of them contradicting each other. So what we decided to do was to collapse all the public finance management laws into one. That's why we have Public Finance Management Act. And we can generate regulations out of it, including this one, which would now give details. So if there is insufficiency or there is an inadequacy in the regulations, we can work on the regulations. Whether there is collaboration between counties, yes, the answer is actually we have a lot of collaboration, and you find even in the committees that I mentioned, there are national government officials. And
who are you informing, Honorable Kamket? We can let the CS to finish, then we... Yes, let the CS finish. Just let the CS finish, because he has quite some...
Thank you. Thank you. So there is collaboration. You look at the committees, the county governments and the national governments are supposed to be working together. As to whether they are effective and efficient, those committees, that is another question. The Honorable Oundo was asking why Garissa has received zero. It's not that we have not made transfers to Garissa. It is about implementation. And we have mentioned here a number of reasons why some counties have failed to implement. Whether I referred to some members here as characters, I don't think I did so. I talked about some characters whom I saw moving around. I don't know whether they were members of parliament, but there were some characters. And as to whether there is any dishonesty, I don't think there is any dishonesty. We have never shied away from saying that Homa Bay has all along been marginalized. From 1963. Actually, we probably got our independence in 2023 when Ruto became president. That is when, actually, I will tell you, I've been in this parliament from 2007 for 15 years, and a road that connects two counties passing through my constituency, all the way from Beta, Sindo, Magunga to Suri, has been awarded severally. Contractors go on site without even doing an inch of tarmac road. Now, if President Ruto has done 28 kilometers of that road and it is tarmac, and then you tell me that it is dishonest, it cannot be. And you can entertain yourself, you can enjoy yourself. But again, if you are visiting an area with area MP, and you take 7 hours before you are allowed to access, an MP to access his constituency, you should know you are moving around with the wrong person. How can an area MP be blocked from reaching his constituency for 7 hours, Madam Speaker?
Honorable Cabinet Secretary.
For 7 hours.
Order.
By his constituents.
Honorable.
And then you still think that is someone who can help you.
Honorable CS, I would beseech you, don't get to the politics.
No, I was actually talking about marginalization.
Yeah.
Madam,
come back to marginalization.
And you know, marginalization, when people who have been marginalized for years feel that they're now being considered, and you still want to bring them confusion, they get very angry. Because they have really suffered for years, and without seeing any development, Now, when they start seeing development, then you start bringing issues to them. They will block you even with their hands because they are not happy. So that is not really politics, Madam Speaker. It's actually the reality. But let me respond to other issues. Yeah, let me move to the other question. Decisions made by national government, yet implementation is by the counties. As a matter of fact, initially, I stated in my initial response, we started implementing the projects directly. But then, based on the decision of 2019 by the High Court, which threw us back now that the county government must implement equalization fund projects. Now we are to look for a way of obeying and respecting the court order. But I have indicated, Madam Speaker, that I am going to ask for the Attorney General to seek a review of this so that we can have a better implementation of these projects. And implementing functions which are not county functions, again, the Constitution speaks to the county functions, but at the same time, the same Constitution speaks to areas where you can apply the funds, which includes education and is not restricting it to early childhood education. So then, if money is sent as conditional grant, it can be applied even in high school education, which again is a function of national government. But the law allows us, the county government and national government, to concur and agree on implementation and collaborate. If there is a will, there is always there will be a way. But I think the bottom line, the gist of this issue, the concern that we have is the administration of this fund, is the management, the implementation of projects. I think it is something that my ministry has taken up and we are looking at. Honorable Loyangapuo, I think you know Lochakapuo, you know I'm used to Loyangapuo, the presidential candidate. Maybe I'm wishing you to be one soon. Lochakapuo, in terms of NGCDF,
He's called the Honorable
thank you.
Order, the Honorable Lochakapong.
Lochakapong.
Or Lochaks, if you wish.
So if I'm allowed, I can abbreviate it as Lochaks. So Honorable Lochaks, in terms of NGCDF, yes, it has been the policy now of the National Treasury that we will be releasing NGCDF as a checkoff. Every month, we will be releasing a portion of CDF funds based on the budget so that by the end of the financial year, we complete, because we know the value and the contribution that NGCDF has to our economic development in terms of spurring rural economy and growth. So now, up to now, we have released up to the month of August. So I don't have a date. NGAF, we will not be releasing monthly. NGAF, we will be releasing in full. So I will tell you, in the next 2 weeks or so, you will have your full allocation. So that is that. Then on, the counties don't generate projects. Actually, the projects come from the project identification and implementation committees. On duplication of projects or resources on projects, that is possible. You know, we live in this country. And sometimes, even some of the roads that Kera does, again, you find counties or vice versa reporting on the same. It is what one could just call theft of public funds. And these are cases that we should identify and deal with. They are unacceptable, whichever way. The relationship between governors and equalization fund, the relationship should be just to the extent that the fund is helping them solve or provide services to their people. It should not be beyond that. And then procurement, there is no way procurement can come back to the national government if we don't sort out the question of the High Court decision of 2019. Honorable Kainan, I can't agree more. We must look at the holistic approach to this. And as to whether I can stop the theft of public funds, we can work on this together. And this House is, again, has a responsibility to oversight. But again, National Treasury, I have a responsibility. And discontinuing the fund is a bit difficult because it's a constitutional provision. And I'm actually required by law to make that provision. So it may be difficult. I don't have a discretion. I don't have that space to you exercise discretion on supplying this or making provision for this fund. Of course, the leader majority defining what projects that can be funded. We actually have a checklist which we issue to counties on what projects can be included in the equalization fund funding. And we usually follow that checklist. That is why you see there are proposals and then the approvals. The approvals are usually less than what have been proposed. But Mr. Speaker, as I go back to sit, I want to state that this fund is still facing a lot of challenges, which we are working to resolve, some of which may require major decisions like how do we implement the projects? Should it continue to be implemented at the counties or we do it directly as national government? Thank you.
This is spent. I think you've had your time on this. So then order. Don't Kenan, you don't do that to me, you know that very well. Yeah. So we'll do order. Don't Kamket, take your seat. We'll do the following. Each of you, 1 minute. You have order. 1 minute each of you. The minister will have only 2 minutes to respond to them, then he will leave. Don't Maklap, 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to do a value addition. Number one, Mr. Speaker, to the Minister for Finance, if you want this thing to succeed for the time being before it lapses, this fund lapses in 2031. It is left with 4.5 years by the Constitution. So, Mr. Speaker, if for now going forward, CS National Treasury, we can be, since this house is the one that is appropriating the money to a coalition fund, and it means therefore that this house must oversight this fund. So for us moving forward is, let us get the projects so that when we pass a budget, we pass an itemized budget, including projects of equalization fund, which as a threshold of what is supposed to be funded. A threshold for what is supposed to be funded.
Allow him 30 seconds.
There is a problem that it needs the cabinet secretary. Why the county governors? I have sat in that committee in the county. The problem is the county governors and their CEC say this fund has been given to us without operationalization or administration funds. Therefore, thank you.
Okay.
Honorable Speaker, the elephant in the room, this is for the Cabinet Secretary, the elephant in the room, Honorable Cabinet Secretary, is the procurement role. Unless you address that matter of procurement, this fund will continue to be wasted. And I do not think, the Honorable Speaker, that the regulations alone, the root of a stand-alone law might be the cure to this problem. And you have been identified, you are an expert, Cabinet Secretary. You have been identified as an expert. Please, you have listened to the cries of members. Please solve the problem of procurement. Remove procurement from county governments. This is where the problem is.
Thank you.
Finally, Speaker, this constitution, Article 204(2), speaks about marginalized areas. I can read. The national government shall use the equalization fund only to provide basic services, including blah, 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 to marginalized areas. Where does this constitution speak about marginalized counties? I want to ask members. So when you come with the idea when you bastardize the second policy, where do you get your strength from? Because the Constitution speaks about marginalized areas.
Not counties.
Not counties.
Thank you, the Honorable Lomo Emade. Please, 1 minute.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mine are two. Number one, check table number 3 and table number 4. On table number 3, it means Turkana County has never received the 148.5 million since 2018. And now, in this other disbursement of maybe 2022-2023, you are saying we are 93% disbursed. So the question is, how can we be able to recover the 148.5 million? Number 2, as a disbursement. Number 2, I need you to confirm if you have been able to receive projects for FY 2026-2027, the current disbursement, if you have been able to receive. If yes, I want to tell you in this house that there was no public participation.
Thank you, the Honorable Pukose. 1 minute.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, CS. CS, the biggest problem about this equalization fund is that when the budget committee tabled here, this equalization fund will be rejected by the House. And therefore, I think you need to be aware as to why you are here, because the committee was going to vote to reject this. The second point on my 1 minute is that NDBS, which is part of the transfer for where you've indicated 0, the project is actually almost 50% done. It's a hospital at a place called Nawiyapong. So where you say that in some of those places the projects have not been done,
the data,
it is not true.
The veracity of the data,
The data that he presented.
CS, the data in your answer, let that be confirmed. That is 1 minute. The Honorable Lakakeny.
Mr. Speaker, I really appreciate the answers of the minister because he seems to be on the same side as the House. And therefore, there is one thing that the minister could do because he has said he can do it. The regulations can come to us now because there are some things which the judgment did not rule out, did not say you cannot do. For instance, if you give money to the counties and they did not pay their own contractors, who will be liable in the end? Those should be in the regulations, and I want to urge you, together with what Honorable McLaughlin has just said, are the quick actions that you can actually take to save this thing.
Honorable Nyikal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The issue is structural at the time, at the point of implementation of the project. Honorable member said, who is the procurement agent? That is where the problem. Then the next one, who is the signatory to the account? You remember in CDF, you actually have the community as signatory. If you build a classroom, in the head teacher and a member of the committee are signatories, so that the fund manager alone cannot. So I think it's simply at that point, who is the procurement agent and who is the signatory at that point? Involve the committee in that. It may help at this point.
Honorable Kenan.
Mr. Speaker, you realize that there is a problem with the interpretation of Article 204. And because of that confusion, we are unable to use these funds which has constitutional timelines. I want to suggest, Mr. Speaker, to the minister, now that we have a minister, don't say expert in court. Indeed, he's an expert. He's one of the best ministers, finance ministers this country has had since independence. So don't use in court. Expert, really. I want to suggest to the members, because of this, and I am a very, very concerned Kenyan and legislator because I was part of the history, I want to suggest that we form a select committee that will address all the issues surrounding the equalization fund, both taking notes from those architects of the current constitution, look at all the court challenges, look at the demands of the Council of Governors, look at what the Commission on Rural Allocation has done in the first policy, the second policy, all these issues we have raised. I want to beseech you, Mr. Speaker, and I know we have not allowed, you realize, since 2013, this House has not allowed a select committee. So I will be proposing names for the formation of a select committee to address all issues appertaining to the equalization fund, so that once and for all, we address this before the end of its constitutional term.
Thank you,
And one of the
Kenan.
members will be the Honorable Kamket.
Order,
So you'll see the list,
order.
inshallah.
The Honorable Kenan, you know, you are a member of this House of long standing. You know what you need to do if you do a select committee. Yes, I would have been happy to listen to you if there was you know, and in this House, we've had, you are wrong to say that you've not had, we've had select committees here, even in this term of parliament, to deal with constitutional amendments and all that. The Honorable CS, no, this has to come to an end.
Thank you.
Honorable CS, take your seat for a minute.
Thank you, Ms.
Honorable CS, take your seat for a minute. Lord Chucks, you had a chance. So let me give it to the Honorable Sunkuya. Please make it a minute. Make it a minute. Go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Before the Constitution, in 2013 to 2022, for the last 10 years, the CSS was not appearing before this House. But the laws were changed, the act, so that the CSS can appear before the House. It is also prudent for this House to change this law for the equalization fund, so that the procurement, the accounting, and all those things of the equalization should be done in the national, at the national government.
Thank you,
because
Honorable.
this is a cash cow for the governors, and they are not even using their resources. They are now depending on equalization fund.
This point is very well made.
These guys should be actually make sure that they are not touching this
This
money.
point is well made. Thank you. The Honorable Akuja.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my question goes to the CS that is there a provision in the law that caps the minimum and the maximum money allocated for particular projects? Because what we are seeing in counties, we are seeing projects of 2 million, 1.5 million. When the equalization fund is supposed to levelize counties that were marginalized with these other counties that went ahead because of sessional paper 65. And this particular money is supposed to do flagship projects, at least projects of 20 million and above. So that's why I'm asking if there's a capping of how much, what is the minimum and the maximum.
Thank you. The Honorable CS, now you can respond to this. And I can assure you these are the last ones on this matter.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll try to be brief because I can see time has really gone. Now, Honorable Makilab, this fund is actually lapsing in 2031, but you have asked that the county, you have not asked, actually you have stated that the county, the CEC members and the governors are saying that there is no administrative component of the fund. But this was deliberate, because if you allowed, again, this fund to be used for administration purposes, then it would lose its meaning, which, of course, we are already crying that the fund is insufficient. And if you allowed, again, part of it to go to administration, yet those who are implementing this fund, already there's enough money for administrative expenses. I think we are also developing bad habit as a country, where every project, every money that comes around, we want to set aside some part of it as administration. I think it is really wrong. We should learn to think about the impact of these resources to the public as opposed to how much allowances we get. So that's what I wanted to say, that was deliberate. Honorable Kamket has talked about procurement fraud. I agree, there are a lot of challenges that we are seeing. And theft is theft. by the way, whether it is on equalization fund, general funds for devolution, NGCDF, or whichever. But it depends on where there is more malpractices. And we see it where this fund is used to account for other and other allocations elsewhere. So the fraud, we have institutions that deal with that, and I believe they are competent enough. On the Constitution defining marginalized areas, it depends on your interpretation of the Constitution. But Speaker, allow me again to say something about this topic. Sometimes the law is not as clear as lawyers would say. As a matter of fact, if you want to know what was originally intended, you may need a conversation by people who are participating in the crafting and drafting these laws. And I know for a fact that equalization fund was not meant for the whole country. And it was not meant for pockets of marginalization in various counties. It was not. Even though the word that was used there was areas, and this has been exploited, but we had an idea of counties or areas that were marginalized. Let me use the word areas. And probably, Honorable Kamket, if the first policy left Baringo out, probably it was a mistake. But that does not mean that now we bring every other county, we bring Migori, we bring Homa Bay, we bring everybody, and say that even in Homa Bay there are some pockets of marginalization or whichever. I still believe, and I still stand very strongly behind the thinking that we should confine this fund to certain specific areas of this country, so that we can realize impact. We are not realizing any serious impact with this fund. I think there was a question on table 3 and 4, proposal note. As a matter of fact, it was the 2026-27 proposals have not been received. So that is that is the clarity that I wanted to give. Honorable Kose, we may need to look at the accuracy of the data. Yes, there could be inaccuracies. If at all the county has implemented some projects and it is reported as 0, I think that is a serious omission that I will look together with my team. On regulations to be revised, Honorable Sunkuli, I agree with you. We may need to look at these regulations and possibly revise them. And probably I would agree with Kainan that we may need to have a team to just really look at this equalization fund and see how best it can have impact, so that we can discuss all these issues, whether there are certain areas in Kajiado which are also marginalized, or Kajiado is not to be considered as a marginalized area. The only problem that I see is we are a bicameral parliament. And sometimes decisions that the two houses make is not informed by what is in the best interest of the public, but rather each house flexing muscle. I don't know whether any suggestion that comes from this house in terms of changing the architecture and the structure of the fund will find favor with the other house. I am not trying to cast aspersions on the other house. I know it is competent enough, but at times you'll find that their thinking is completely at variance with what the National Assembly is thinking.
As it should be, because they were set up for different reasons.
Exactly.
Yes.
But again, it is expected that what guides is the interest of the public whom we serve, because we serve the same constituency anyway. There is no constituency which does not belong to a county. All constituencies are domiciled in counties. So that takes me to talk about the interpretation of Article 204. I think I've responded to that. In terms of procuring, it is difficult to separate procurement and implementation of projects. So we need to be very clear on that. But signatory to the accounts, as at now, is the same county government officials, because the money is being utilized at the county level. There is a special purpose.
Order. The Honorable Wanjala, you can't walk in here walking like, and then you want to disrupt the CS. Order. Sit down. Order. The Honorable CS, this is a ranking member.
Yeah.
I would like you to take a seat and listen to him for a minute. And it better be something serious. Go ahead, Honorable Wanjala.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'm one of those people who advocated for this money and to be put even in the Constitution, Honorable Speaker. And Budalangi is one of the beneficiaries, Honorable Speaker. But for the last 14 years since this money came, it goes through the county government. And we have never seen this money to date. Honorable Speaker, we are talking, and we are supposed to be getting 5 million every year, which we have been getting. For the last 14 years, we have not seen this money in Budalangi.
Thank you so much. What you said is appreciated. It is what all members have talked about. If you were here earlier, you'd have noted that every member has raised the same concern you've raised, and the CS has taken his time to respond to them. In case, because you came late, in case you don't get the answer you required, you can walk out with him as he goes to get, you can get a face-to-face clarification. Honorable CS, proceed to conclude.
Yeah, thank you. Two things. When you see our report talking about zero absorption, it doesn't mean the project has not been implemented. It means payment has not been made. So probably the money is in the fund, the special CPA, that is special purpose account, but has not been disbursed. So that's a correction. Now on Honorable Wanjala's concern, and Honorable Wanjala is my friend, you know, he's a ranking member of this house. I agree with him that Budalangi has been included, but in the second formula, and which we started implementing the projects from last financial year. So this is the second financial year. We will check after this why the projects that were meant to benefit Budalangi have not been implemented. So in the House, Mr. Speaker, with the CEO of the Equalization Fund is listening. So we will make sure that we follow through to see what is happening with Budalangi, even as the MP for Funyula is distracting. The MP for Funyula likes invading people's territory. So, but thank you very much.
No, thank you so much, CS. I can assure you, I can assure you, Mr. CS, this House appreciates your time and the time you prepare to answer your questions. And this House, order. This House requests you, because I've heard you being called expert, to tell your colleagues to take their work as seriously as you do. Because we want that when ministers come to this House, they are comprehensive, they take members of Parliament's questions seriously, so that this country can move together, knowing that we have a cabinet that knows what it's supposed to do for the country. You are discharged. Those who want to offer the CST at our restaurant can follow him. For now, he's discharged. There's nothing out of order. Oundo, what is the problem?
Speaker, this is a house of records and has appeared on Hansard. The cabinet secretary has alleged that I like invading people's territory. I want to put it on record. I do not invade anybody's territory. I'm a Kenyan who is allowed to go any part of this country as provided for in the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. That should be very clear. I do not have an army that can invade anywhere. I'm not warmonger. I'm not anything like that. I simply go to parts of Kenya as allowed under the Constitution of Kenya with Linda Mwananchi Brigade. Thank you.
There is no business on the floor that requires you to. No. Order. I was here when the minister spoke, and I know that that statement was made in jest and meant as a joke. I don't think you want to create any hue around it. Let's allow it to rest. Members, the house is still on. We are going to the committee of the whole house shortly.
Are you a brigade commander? And you having raided Yemen? It's a very dangerous man.
Next order.
Order number 13, Committee of the Whole House.
Order, members, order. Honorable Chakapong, freeze where you are. Order. Order, members. Order, members, clear the aisle. Order, members, we have a couple of bills on the committee of the whole. We will start with the Air Passenger Service Charge Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 56 of 2026, and this will be led by the Majority Leader.
Clauses 2 and 3.
Members, I propose the question. Order. We are on the Air Passenger Service Charge Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 56 of 2026, clauses 2 and 3. Members, I propose the question that clauses 2 and 3 be part of the bill. There being no amendments, I put the question that clauses 2 and 3 be part of the bill. Will as another opinion say aye? Aye. Will as another opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Clause 4.
Members, I propose the question that clause 4 be part of the bill. Mover to move for amendment. Majority Leader. Clause 4.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that clause 4 be amended as proposed on the order paper, which is just a deletion of the clause.
Well, members, I therefore propose, as proposed by the chair, by the Majority Leader, that clause 4 be deleted. Members, I therefore put the question that clause 4 be deleted. Will as another opinion say aye? Aye. Those of opinion say nay. Ayes have it.
Title.
Members, I propose a question that the title be the title of the bill. There being no amendment, I now put the question that the title be the title of the bill. As one of the opinion say aye, or the opinion say nay. Ayes have it.
Clause 1.
Members, I propose a question that clause 1 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that clause 1 be amended as provided for in the order paper, which is just to say that the bill shall come into force upon publication in the Gazette. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Members, I therefore propose a question that clause 1 be amended as proposed by the Majority Leader. Members, I therefore put the question that clause 1 be amended as proposed by the Majority Leader. As another opinion say aye. As another opinion say nay. Ayes have it. Members, I now put the question that clause 1 as amended be part of the bill. Will, as another opinion say aye. Those of opinion say nay. Ayes have it. Mover to move for reporting.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Air Passenger Service Charge Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 56 of 2026, and its approval thereof with amendments.
Okay, and therefore put the question, members, which is that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Air Passenger Service Charge Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 56 of 2026, and its approval thereof with amendments. As many other opinions say aye. As many other opinions say nay. Ayes have it. Members, we'll move to the next bill in the order paper, and that is the County Library Services Bill. This is Senate Bill number 40 of 2024. We'll do the reporting together once we are done with the 5 bills.
Clause 3.
Members, I propose the question that clause 3 be amended, be part of the bill. Members, I propose the question that clause 3 of the County Library Services Bill, Senate Bill number 40 of 2024, be part of the bill. There's an amendment. Majority Leader, this is your bill still? Chair, or Chair is here. Honorable Wanyama.
I beg to move that clause 3 of the bill be amended as it appears in the order paper.
All members, I propose the question that clause 3 be amended as proposed by the chair of the Sports Committee. There being no because there, I put the question, members, that clause 3 be amended as proposed. As another opinion say aye. As another opinion say nay. Ayes have it. I now propose, members, that I now put the question, members, that clause 3 as amended be part of the bill. As another opinion say aye. As another opinion say nay. Ayes have it.
Clause 4.
Or members, I propose the question that clause 4 be part of the bill. Mover, having an amendment.
I beg to move that clause 4 of the bill is amended as it appears in the order paper.
Members, I propose the question that clause 4 be deleted as proposed by the chairperson. Members, we are substituting, so I therefore put the question that clause 4 be amended as proposed by the chair of Sports and Culture. As another opinion say aye. As another opinion say nay. Ayes have it. Members, I therefore put the question that clause 4 as amended be part of the bill. As another opinion say aye. As another opinion say nay. Ayes have it.
Clause 5.
Members, I propose the question that clause 5 be part of the bill. Chairperson.
I beg to move that clause 5 of the bill be amended as it appears in the order paper.
Could you just move the bill and say that be deleted? Could you just say it should be, because you're proposing a deletion?
I beg to move that clause 5 be deleted as it appears in the order paper.
Thank you. Members, I propose the question, therefore, that clause 4, propose the question that clause 4 be deleted as proposed. Clause 5 be deleted as proposed. Or remember, I therefore put the question that clause 5 be deleted. As many other opinions say aye, many other opinions say nay. Ayes have it.
Clause 6.
Members, I propose a question that clause 6 be part of the bill. Mover.
I beg to move that clause 6 be deleted as it appears in the order paper.
Members, I propose a question that clause 6 be deleted as proposed by the chair. I therefore put the question that clause 6 be deleted. As another opinion say aye. As another opinion say nay. Ayes have it.
Clause 7.
Members, I propose the question that clause 7 is part of the bill. And there being no amendment, I put the question that clause 7 be part of the bill. As another opinion say aye. As another opinion say nay. Ayes have it.
Clause 8.
Members, I propose the question that clause 8 be part of the bill. Mover.
I beg to move that clause 8 of the bill be amended as it appears in the order paper.
Members, I propose the question that clause 8 be amended as proposed by the Chair of Sports and Culture Committee. Members, I put the question that clause 8 be amended as proposed. As another opinion say aye.
Aye.
As another opinion say nay. Ayes have it. Members, I will now put the question that clause 8 is amended be part of the bill. As another opinion say aye. As another opinion say nay. Ayes have it.
Clause 9.
Members, I put the question. I propose the question that clause 9 be part of the bill. There being no amendment, I put the question that clause 9 be part of the bill. As another opinion say aye. As another opinion say nay. Ayes have it.
Clause 2.
Members, I propose the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Honorable Chair.
I beg to move that clause 2 of the bill be amended as it appears on the order paper.
Members, I propose the question that clause 2 be amended as proposed by the Chair of Sports and Culture.
Put the question.
Members, I put the question that clause 2 be amended as proposed. As another opinion say aye. As another opinion say nay. Ayes have it. Members, I put the question that clause 2 as amended be part of the bill. As another opinion say aye. Many other opinion say nay. Ayes have it.
Title.
Honourable members, I propose the question that the title be the title of the bill. Mover. Title of the bill, clause, the title of the bill. Do you have an amendment to it?
No amendment to it.
There is an amendment.
Yes, there is. I beg to move that the long title to the bill be amended as it appears on the order paper.
Honourable members, I propose the question that the title of the bill be amended as proposed. And therefore put the question that the title be amended as proposed. As another opinion say aye. Those of contrary opinion say nay. Ayes have it. Members, I now put the question that the title of the bill be the title of the bill. As another opinion, as amended with the title of the bill. As another opinion say aye. As another opinion say nay. Ayes have it.
Clause 1.
Honourable members, I propose the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. There being no amendment, I put the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. As another opinion say aye. As another opinion say nay. Ayes have it. We'll move for reporting. Mover, will you move for reporting? Give me the mic.
With the mic.
Go ahead.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee to report to the House its considerations of the County Library Service Bill, Senate Bill number 40 of 2024, and its approval, therefore, with amendments.
Honourable members, now put the question, which is that the committee to report to the House is consideration of the County Library Services Bill, Senate Bill number 40 of 2024, and its approval thereof with amendments. As many other opinions say aye. Aye. As many other opinions say nay. Ayes have it. Members, that marks the end of Committee on the County Library Services Bill, Senate Bill number 40 of 2024. We'll consider it in the House once we're done with the rest of the bills. Thank you. Members, we now move to the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 17 of 2025. I can see the Honorable Chair available here with his usual punk hairstyle. Honorable Chairperson. I didn't say funky. It's called a punk. I'm sure those of you who were born earlier, let her don't know what that hairstyle is. Yes, it's a punk, the Honorable Mayaka. It's not F, it is P. Oh, members, we proceed.
Clause 2.
Members, I propose the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Honorable Chair, you have an amendment to this? Clause 2. The Honorable Chair lost his notes. Honorable Chair, proceed. I've proposed the question that clause 2 be amended, be part of the bill, so proceed.
So, Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 2 be amended as per the order paper. But it's more than to mention, Honorable Chair, the reason why we are consulting is because this was a Senate amendment. So the Committee of Finance and National Planning did not have any amendment on clause 2. In that case, we are just agreeing with the Senate on the proposed amendment by the Senate, and therefore will not be moving any further amendment on this particular clause. But now that, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chairperson, you did discuss my hairstyle, please don't be jealous of my hair when you are bald. It is not my fault that there is no hair on your head.
Honorable Chair.
It is not.
Order. The Honorable Chair, just check your notes. Which bill are you referring to yourself now? No, there are two amendments to the PFM. There are two amendments. So there's one, we are on bill number 17. That's National Assembly, actually your bill. National Assembly bill number 17 of 2025. We'll come to that later. You really bill number 17 of 2025.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, beg to move that clause 2 be amended as per the order paper, and I beg to move that this clause 2 be amended as the following: that clause 2 of the bill be amended by deleting the words hereafter referred to as a principal act. And this is just a cleanup, Honorable Chairperson, to make sure that all the amendments are in line with our Constitution and the PFM Act, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, honorable members. I propose the question that clause 2 be amended as proposed. There being no, I now put the question that clause 2 be amended as proposed. As another opinion say aye. As another opinion say nay. Ayes have it. I now put the question, members, that clause 2 as amended be part of the bill. Will as another opinion say aye. Those opinion say nay. Ayes have it.
Clauses 3, 4, 5, and 6.
All members have proposed a question that clauses 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 be part of the bill. And there being no amendments to them, I put the question that clauses 3, 4, 5, and 6 be part of the bill. As another opinion say aye. As another opinion say nay. Ayes have it.
New clauses.
Members, I propose the question that new clause 1.
New clause 1A.
Members, I propose the new clause 1A be part of the bill. Honorable Chairperson, you move for second reading, new clause 1A.
Honorable Chairperson, beg to move that new clause 1A be now read a second time as per the order paper.
Members, I propose the question that new clause 1A be now read a second time. Members, I put the question that new clause 1A be now read a second time. As another opinion say aye. As another opinion say nay. Ayes have it. Members, I now propose the question that new clause 1A be part of the bill. I put the question that new clause 1A be part of the bill. As many other opinions say aye. As many other opinions say nay. Ayes have it.
New clause 1B.
All members, would we have the mover move?
Honorable.
New clause 1B for second reading.
So thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that new clause 1B be now read a second time. And this amendment is providing for that the principal work is amending section 2410, but it runs 3 months. So reducing the time reduction from 3 months to 2 months. I beg to move, Honorable Chairperson.
All members, I propose a question that the new clause 1B be now read a second time. We put the question that new clause 1B be now read a second time. As many other opinions say aye. As many other opinions say nay. Ayes have it. Members, I now put the question, propose the question that new clause 1B be part of the bill. I put the question that new clause 1B be part of the bill. As many other opinions say aye. As many other opinions say nay. Ayes have it.
New clause 1C.
Mover to move new clause 1C for second reading.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that new clause 1C be now read a second time. Honorable Chairperson, this amendment is seeking to require the county governments to obtain written approvals from the National Treasury when they are opening or closing bank accounts. Honorable Chairperson, as we look forward to you being the governor for Siaya County, I know you're not going to be, there are governors who open bank accounts arbitrarily across all banks.
I'll reduce them.
And therefore, it's very important that now we require county governments to require the approval of National Treasury when they're either opening or closing any bank accounts, Honorable Chairperson.
Well, members, I now propose the question that the new clause 1C be now read a second time. Honorable Ruto.
Thank you, Chair. In line with what Chairman of Finance has said, having coming from previously serving at county government as CEC Finance, it's actually evident that there is trouble in devolution, especially on matters on source revenue. There are several bank accounts which have been opened and they are not registered, and as by the Constitution, all collections are supposed to be moved to CBK, to central bank under county revenue fund account. But there is problem that counties are under collecting, and therefore they're under budgeting or under funding, and therefore they result to bending bill. So it's very critical, this bill that has come at the right time. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, I put the question that the new clause 1C be now read a second time. The Honorable Chairperson, you want to do a further amendment?
Yes, not a further amendment, Honorable Chairperson. I realize that this new clause 1C has two sections. Has A, that I just described about opening, that now county governments will require the approval of National Treasury when they are either opening or closing bank accounts. But Honorable Chairperson, I think to bring the attention of this House to clause B, where we're saying in subsection 2, by deleting the words or bank approved by county treasury, appearing immediately after the words or the Central Bank of Kenya. So this, therefore, this amendment will now mean that when you mean single treasury account, it means the Central Bank of Kenya. So where now you cannot now open an account at, say, a private bank and call it a single treasury account. So now that will require that all our counties will have an account with the Central Bank of Kenya. That will mean that both the Central Bank of Kenya, the National Treasury, and government will have an overview of all the accounts of all counties in the Republic of Kenya. I think it was important that I put that in track, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you. Members, with that explanation, I now put the question that the new clause 1C be now read a second time. As another opinion say aye. As many opinion say nay. Ayes have it. Members, I now propose a question that new clause 1C be part of the bill. I put the question that the new clause 1C be part of the bill. As many other opinions say aye. As many opinions say nay. Ayes have it.
New clause 1D.
Honorable Chair, move new clause 1D for second reading.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that new clause 1D be now read a second time. So, Honorable Chairperson, in clause 1D, we're talking about a very important institution called IBEC that's chaired by the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. So now it's requiring that these offices now will have to receive reports and require that if they have any issue that they have to comment on, they now clarify to IBEC. And that includes the Clerk of the National Assembly, the Clerk of the Senate, the Chief Registrar for Judiciary, County Governors, the Controller of Budget, a representative of the Attorney General, the Chairperson of the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, and the Chairperson of County Assemblies Forum. So this is now going to make IBEC more inclusive of all the constitutional offices, the independent offices, and now taking into consideration both houses of National Assembly, Senate, and most importantly, also the county governments, in addition to the Outer General and the Controller of Budget. I beg to move, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you. And members, I propose a question that the new clause 1D be now read a second time. I put the question, members, that the new clause 1D be now read a second time. As many other opinions say aye, as many other contrary opinions say nay. Ayes have it. Members, I propose the question that the new clause 1D be part of the bill. I put the question, members, that the new clause 1D be part of the bill. As many other opinions say aye, those other opinions say nay. Ayes have it.
New clause 1E.
Honorable Chair, move new clause 1D, 1E for second reading.
So, Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the new clause 1E be now read a second time. Again, in terms of making the IBEC a very functional office within the office of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, we are now providing it by law that the IBEC can now co-opt the Auditor General into any of their meetings, so that the Auditor General now, with the overview of all the accounting and all the audit of the whole country, can give their overview during meetings of IBEC. Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, members. I now propose a question that new clause 1E be now read a second time. I put the question that the new clause 1E be now read a second time. As many other opinions say aye, as many other opinions say nay. Ayes have it. Members, I propose a question that the new clause 1E be part of the bill. I now put the question, the new clause 1E be part of the bill. As many other opinions say aye, as many other opinions say nay. Ayes have it.
New clause 1F.
Honorable Chair, please, the mover to move for second reading for the new clause 1F.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that new clause 1F be now read a second time. Honorable Chairperson, when you're looking at the resources that are being that are available to counties, we have money that's available through the budget from the counties, and we also they share the revenue from national government. But also we have also loans and grants and monies from different partners that are received that are paid to counties. Now, this new amendment 1F is now requiring that the county governments, in reading and passing their budget, must include these revenues or these finances that come from development partners and another beneficiary, another donors that make advance monies to county government, so that there is an inclusion. Because, Honorable Chairperson, as you recognize, some of these county governors have been, will budget for a project with the county funds. The same project is funded by the national government, and the same project is being funded by donor funds. So now we are now collapsing all that and making sure that that reporting is done, so that we avoid that overlap of funding from different agencies for the same project. Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you. Members, I propose a question that the new clause 1F be now read a second time. Members, I put the question that new clause 1F be now read a second time. As many other opinions say aye, as many other opinions say nay. Ayes have it. I now propose the question, members, that the new clause 1F be part of the bill. Put the question that the new clause 1F be part of the bill. As many other opinions say aye, as many other opinions say nay. Ayes have it.
Title.
Members, I propose the question that the title be the title of the bill. There being no amendment there, I put the question that the title be the title of the bill. As another opinion say aye, as another opinion say nay. Ayes have it.
Clause 1.
Members, I propose the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. There being no amendment, I put the question that clause 1 be the clause 1 of the bill. As many other opinions say aye. As many other opinions say nay. Ayes have it. We ask the mover to move for reporting.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 1725, and its approval thereof with amendments.
Members, I put the question, which is that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 1725, and its approval thereof with amendments. As many other opinions say aye. Aye. As many other opinions say nay. Ayes have it. That marks the end of the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 17 of 2025. In its committee, will report to the House after the next bill in the committee. Honorable members, we now move to the Kenya National Council for Population and Development Bill, National Assembly Bill number 72 of 2023. This basically involved consideration of Senate amendments to this bill, and we got the chair in the House, the chair for sports and culture. I think this is yours. Now this is being done by the Majority Leader. Majority Leader is here around. Are you the one handling that? Okay, but you will help us, so in the House.
Senate amendment to clause 7.
Members, I propose the question that the Senate amendments to clause 7 be now approved. Because there are no amendments to that clause, I now put the question that Senate amendments to clause 7 be now approved. As many other opinions say aye. As many other opinions say nay. Ayes have it.
Senate amendments to clause 8.
Members, I propose the question that the Senate amendments to clause 8 be now approved. There being no amendments, I now put the question that the Senate amendments to clause 8 be now approved. As many other opinions say aye. As many other contrary opinions say nay. Ayes have it.
Senate amendments to clause 14.
All members, I now propose the question that the Senate amendments to clause 14 be now approved. There being no amendments, I now put the question that the Senate amendments to clause 14 be now approved. As many other opinions say aye. As many other contrary opinions say nay. Ayes have it.
Senate amendments to clause 29.
Honourable members, I propose the question that the Senate amendments to clause 29 be now approved. There being no amendments to that clause, I now put the question that the Senate amendments to clause 29 be now approved. As many other opinions say aye, as many other opinions say nay. The ayes have it. Members, that marks the end. I would therefore request the mover to move for reporting. Honorable Wanyama.
On behalf of the Majority Leader, Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Senate amendments to the Kenya National Council for Population and Development Bill, National Assembly Bill number 72 of 2023, and its approval, therefore, without amendments.
Thank you, members. I now put the question, which is that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Senate amendments to the Kenya National Council for Population and Development Bill, National Assembly Bill number 72 of 2023, and its approval thereof without amendments. As many other opinions say aye, as many other opinions say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. I think that marks the end of that. We go to the next bill. Members, we now go to the Committee of the Whole House to consider the Senate amendment to the Public Finance Management Amendment number 4 to the National Assembly Bill number 45 of 2024. Honorable Chair, we are dealing with the Senate amendment to the Public Finance Management Amendment number 4 to the bill, National Assembly Bill number 45 of 2025. Let's proceed.
Senate amendments to clause 2.
I now propose the question, members, that the Senate amendments to clause 2 be now approved. There being no amendments, I put the question that the Senate amendments to clause 2 be now approved. As many other opinions say aye, as many other opinions say nay. Ayes have it.
Senate amendments to clause 4.
Members, I propose the question that Senate amendments to clause 4 be now approved. There being no amendments, I now put the question that the Senate amendments to clause 4 be now approved. As many other opinions say aye, as many other opinions say nay. Ayes have it.
Propose new clauses. New clause 1A and 1B proposed by the Senate.
All members, I would now like to call the chairperson of Finance Committee. All members, I propose the question that the new clauses 1A and 1B, as proposed by the Senate, be now approved.
Honorable Chairperson, we did consider these amendments that have been proposed by the Senate, and after public participation and very extensive discussion in the committee, we're in agreement with the proposed amendments and the new amendments being proposed by the Senate, and therefore we have no objection to these particular new amendments to new clauses 1A, 1B, and all those others being proposed by the Senate. I beg to move, Honorable Chairperson.
Members, I now propose a question that the new clauses 1A and 1B, as proposed by the Senate, be now approved. I now put the question, members, that the new clauses 1A and 1B, as proposed by the Senate, be now approved. As many other opinions say aye, as many other opinions say nay. Ayes have it.
New clauses 3A, 3B, 3C, 3D, 3E, 3F, 3H, 3G, 3H, 3I, and 3J proposed by the Senate.
Chairperson.
Again, Honorable Chairperson, we find these amendments being proposed by the Senate very, very progressive. It's very important, Honorable Chairperson, to mention that the new clause 3A is now going to impose a personal liability to county executives who fail to implement recommendations made by the Auditor General or by the National Treasury. And therefore, if any amendments, if any report of the Auditor General requires that the county must implement these particular measures 1, 2, 3, 4, and the county executive fail to implement those recommendations of the chairperson, then they will be personally liable, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, this we hope is going to bring the fiscal discipline that is needed in our counties, because every year we have the Auditor General make recommendations, we have the Controller of Budget make recommendations to counties on things that they must do, but they fall in deaf ears and they never happen. But now, therefore, with this amendment now, they're now going to be personally liable if they don't implement the decisions made by the Auditor General, Honorable Chairperson.
Members, I propose the question that the new clauses 3A, 3B, 3D, let me take that again. Members, I propose the question that new clauses 3A, 3B, 3C, 3D, 3E, 3F, 3G, 3H, 3I, and 3J, as proposed by the Senate, be now approved. I put the question, members, that the new clauses 3A, 3B, 3C, 3D, 3E, 3F, 3G, 3H, 3I, and 3J be, as proposed by the Senate, be now approved. As another opinion say aye. As another opinion say nay. Ayes have it.
New clauses 3K, 3L, 3M, 3N, 3O, 3P, 3Q, and 3R proposed by the Senate.
Members, I propose the question that the new clauses 3K, 3L, 3M, 3N, 3O, 3P, 3Q, and 3R, as proposed by the Senate, be now approved. Go ahead.
Honorable Chair, I know this particular discussion today may seem a bit unusual because it's not often that we send bills to the Senate and they come back with so many amendments. But I think to be on record to this House and say the reason why there are so many amendments to this PFM is because we did send to the Senate 3 different PFM amendment bills. And therefore, what the Senate did was to consolidate the 3 bills into one. And that's why this particular amendment that you're seeing from the Senate, they're not necessarily for Senate amendments. These are amendments that were made by this House. The Senate only did now amalgamate them into one law. And that is now why we are passing that today, and now that's why we are largely in agreement with Senate. Usually, Senate does a very lousy job, so it's not, it appears that they have done a very good job,
No,
but
order.
they haven't.
Order.
They just...
Order. Order? Will you rise on your seat and correct the use of the wrong term you've used?
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. The Senate usually does a very good job like they have done now. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
And withdraw the word. Be on record by withdrawing
and
the
I
word.
withdraw the word lousy, Honorable
Thank you.
Chairperson.
All members, I now put the question that new clauses 3K, 3L, 3M, 3N, 3O, 3P, 3Q, and 3R, as proposed by the Senate, be now approved. As another opinion say aye. As another opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Move for reporting.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Senate amendment to the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, Bill number 45 of 2024, and its approval thereof with amendments.
Members, I now put the question, which is that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Senate amendments to the Public Finance Management Amendment